Okay. All right. So hello and good evening, everyone. Again, welcome to Camp 2023's Annual Study Abroad Conference with the theme Pathfinding Trekking to College. So I'm Brianna Billano, Camp's College Fair Manager and your host for tonight's exciting college fair. So we have such a wonderful lineup of colleges for you tonight, and we hope that you guys will enjoy. However, before we start, here are just a few reminders to take note of while attending our college fair. So first, please turn your mic and camera off as the college representatives present. And while the presentation happens, do take note of any questions you may have, as we will have a respective Q&A portion after each college presentation is done. And our college fair sessions will be recorded. If you would like to go back and listen to their presentations, please visit Camp's YouTube page after the conference. And if you are interested in any of the colleges presenting, we will release interest forms after the college fair, which you can definitely fill out to learn more about them. And now that's done, it's time to begin our college fair with our very first university presenting tonight, Syracuse University. So based in New York in the United States, Ms. Sherilyn Saichu is here to present Syracuse University and answer questions about the university's academics, student life, and definitely so much more. So let's give her a virtual round of applause.
Thank you so much, Brianna, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our presentation about our university. My name is Sherilyn Saichu, and I'm the Syracuse University's Regional Manager for International Undergrad Admissions. With me for this evening session is one of our current students who just graduated last May, who's now an official alum, Enrique Prehula. Enrique, do you want to say a quick hi before we'll start?
Oh, hello. I'm Enrique Prehula. I was a business analytics and supply chain management major in Syracuse University, and I came from Ateneo Senior High School.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Enrique. So for this evening session, I'll give you a very quick overview about our university. Then Enrique will talk a little bit about student life on campus. Then I believe we have Q&A part of it. Okay, so let's get started. So let me start by saying we're at Syracuse University. We are located in upstate New York. It's easy distance driving from bigger cities that we know, like New York City, Boston, Washington. We're also close to Canada border, so we're very close to Toronto, Montreal. We have great intra and intercity transportation that will make it easier for you to visit bigger cities during weekends. And at Syracuse University, you'll experience 4 seasons. So you'll get the experience of the fall, the snow. During the winter, we have beautiful spring as well, and then the sunny summer. So each of those, I would say, season, they'll give different activities that will help you to integrate to the community easily. And at Syracuse University, we do have more than 200 majors to choose from. So there's more than 200 majors and 100 minors that you can combine. You can easily design your own diploma depending on your career path. We have our College of Arts and Sciences, which is our liberal arts foundation. And under the College of Arts and Sciences, we have the Maxwell School, which is our social sciences, one of the top social science school, not just in the US, but worldwide. We have our School of Architecture, which is always within top 5 in the US. Then we have our School of Business, which is always one of the top undergrad business schools in the United States. And Rita can tell you a little bit about that later on. We have our Newhouse School, which is again, one of the top in the US. And then we have our School of Information Studies. We are the pioneer in the US when it comes to information studies, and we are still the center of the research. Of course, we have our School of Education. We have our College of Visual Performing Arts, where we have School of Art, Design, Drama, Music, Communication, and Rhetorical Studies. Then we have our College of Engineering and Computer Science, where we recently partnered with Macron, who invested $1 billion in the upstate New York. And we just had a partnership that they will be getting their interns and employee from Syracuse University. And we're talking about for about $100,000 starting salary. It's a very great opportunity to our students pursuing College of Engineering and Computer Science. So each of these colleges, we're trying to have a smaller classes when it comes to majoring. We only have an average class size of 26 students per class to ensure the attention you need from the professors and for you to be able to express yourself. And each of our colleges and schools, they'll have their own academic and career advising. So you'll have your personal academic advisor to guide you through when it comes to course selection every semester. Just want to make sure you are on the right track, especially if you decided to declare a double major or a major and a minor, or sometimes our students, they even do triple major. And aside from academic advising, you'll have your career advisor as well to help you navigate on how to do your resume, how to look for internships. They invite companies, not just from New York, but from different states to come to Syracuse. They recruit our students for internships. And aside from the career advising in your college, the university has career department as well. So Syracuse University is a Research One institution. If you are interested in research, I'm sure you know that the highest ranking in the US when it comes to research opportunities is the R1. There are only very few universities in the US who get R1, and we are one of those. And when we say research, of course, there's a lot of laboratories, engineering, but it's not just all about those. We have research in business, in performing arts, in architecture, name it. And we have a dedicated department on campus. It is called SOURCE. It is the Office for Undergrad Research and Creativity Engagement, where you can become part of our research team as early as undergrad. So you don't need to wait until you get your master's or PhD. You have the opportunity to start your research as early as first year. And aside from our main campus, we do have our study abroad. We have 5 dedicated centers where you can spend 1 semester. Some students, they do 2 semesters of study abroad. We have study center in London, we have in Italy, we have in France, we also have in San Diego, and we have in Spain. If you're looking for short-term study abroad, we have partnership with more than 100 institutions across 60 countries. So you can spend short-term study abroad during winter break or summer break as well. Then we have what we call as discovery programs. So these are only being offered to students applying to the College of Art and Sciences, Maxwell School, and the College of Engineering and Computer Science, where you can spend your first semester in Spain or Italy or France before joining us on campus for your second semester of your first year. So just like opposite of that is a study abroad. So usually their students start their study abroad during their third year onwards. And aside from the rigor of academic that we are offering at Syracuse, we want to make sure that you have balanced personal social life as well. So we have more than 300 clubs and student organizations that you can choose from. You can join any number of them, but just want to make sure you know how to balance your time management, right? And our organizations, they vary from academic to community service to, I would say, sports. Whatever activities you're doing in high school, I'm pretty sure you'll find one in Syracuse. So Enrique will talk a little bit about our Filipino Student Association as well in a little while. And then aside from our clubs, activities, our regular academic, we also have our Barn Center. I'm proud to say that we are one of the only 2 universities in the US that has an integrated health, wellness, and recreation services all in one building. So it's a 4-story building where you can unwind. Just want to make sure that you are always mentally, physically healthy all the time. So we do have these e-games, if you love e-games. And as a matter of fact, we are endorsing our esports major this coming fall. So there's an option now for you to study esports if you're into e-games. And then we also have large gym, we have large swimming pool, there's mountain climbing, there's pet therapy session, counseling session happening at the Barn Center. Then our student center, it's newly renovated. It's a place to hang out with your friends. And it's a dedicated center as well for the Office of Multicultural Affairs, Office for Disability Cultural Center, an Office for LGBTQ Resource Center. There's bookstore as well. So it's a place for you to hang out with your friends in case you just want to mingle and if you would like to relax aside from visiting our Barn Center. And at Syracuse University, it is mandatory for you to live on campus. So that means you have You have your dorm, you have your meal plan for the first 2 years. It is for your own convenience, I'd say for your own safety, because you would like to make sure that you can navigate the community, the city well before you decided to move out. And in choosing roommate, there's a couple of options that you can do. So if you know someone attending at the same time with you, you can choose each other, or you can join our communities, learning communities, like what you can see on your screen. So it's a way for you to stay with a group of students that has the same interest like yours. So there's a variety of options when it comes to learning community on campus. There's this academic learning community, like what you see, it's an engineering computer science learning community. There's also like, if you would like to live with the same group of students that has the same interest in business, or maybe multicultural learning community and so on. And I believe Enrique has been part of this learning community, so he can talk a little bit about that. And when you graduate, you'll join 250,000 of alumni. They're from 50 US states and 178 countries. So as you can see on your screen, one of our most popular alum is the current US President, Joe Biden. We are on common applications. So if you decided to apply to Syracuse University, I will be reading your application. I can be your direct contact. I offer virtual interviews as well. It is not mandatory for Syracuse, but it is something I strongly recommend students to do, as it is, I would say, your way to demonstrate your interest to the university. At the same time, during our conversation, it helps us to learn more about you, something that we will not be able to see just by reading your application on the Common App. We do have early decision, which is the binding one. So our early decision deadline is every 15th of November. We also have early decision 2, which has the same deadline with a regular decision, which is January 5th. We are SAT, ACT optional, even before COVID, or we do not really require our students studying outside the US for SAT or ACT. And normally, if you're studying in Philippines in the last 3 to 4 years, I just waive your English requirement, because I know, regardless if you're studying in a private or public high school institutions, the medium of communications is English, so no test at all. But again, of course, if you're applying to other institutions that might require you to provide English proficiency, you can always submit that to Syracuse as well. If you're not confident, if let's say you took SAT or IELTS or TOEFL, you can email me directly off the record. I'll be more than happy to let you know whether those scores are good enough for Syracuse University. What else? So on common application, of course, we do have this essay. We do have also our own essay, like if you choose Syracuse University, there's one question. We're not expecting you to create, as much as the essay that you're doing at common application. So for our own essay, we just want you to be direct to the point. We want to see that you are really interested in Syracuse, you know what you're applying for. So a paragraph or 2 will be okay. And at Syracuse University, we are offering scholarships as well. If you are an international student, you do not need to apply for that. You will be automatically considered for merit evaluation based on your academic and personal achievements. We do offer as much as full tuition. Of course, that is very selective and very few, but that's the highest we do offer. We do not cover the cost of living. So it ranges from the full tuition down to $10,000, and whatever amount you get on your first year, it will be automatically renewed every year, the same amount, as long as you maintain the required GPA by your respective college. And if you are a US citizen or US passport holder or US residents, you are eligible to apply for need-based as well. Of course, there are corresponding application form for those that you can see on our website. And I think that's it for me. I'll let Enrique to talk a little bit about student life on campus.
Hi, thank you, Sherilyn. So for student life on campus, maybe first I can start with academics. I was in the Whitman School of Management. Well, at the beginning of the whole Syracuse experience, I was in the College of Arts and Science, majoring in ethics. And because of that, I had this idea of transferring to the business program because I wanted to pursue business. And I was able to do an IUT, which is an inter-university transfer. And for the business school, it can only happen in the beginning of the semester. In your first year, to transfer, as Whitman has a lot of core classes, and doing it later than freshman year to transfer will delay you a bit. Um, for the business programs, it has been such an amazing help. The career center, the academic center, they're very supportive with you with what you want to do in the future. They're very hardworking, I would say, with the networking aspect. Last November, I even joined this group of 20 students to go to Silicon Valley. We just paid $100, and it was like a 5-day trip to Silicon Valley. We visited venture capital startups, Google, LinkedIn, and other like networking aspects. I was able to meet this Taiwanese couple who met in Syracuse, who both majored in supply chain, and now each of them are working in Apple and Tesla. So the network is really there for the business school. Next, I would also want to talk about the Filipino Student Association. I take pride talking about this always. Coming in as a freshman 2019, I would say that you wouldn't feel it immediately, the Filipino Student Association. And there was something I really wanted to feel, as it was should be a second home for especially Filipino international students. And throughout the years, we've been growing this organization, especially starting last year. We were able to do this mentor and mentee program called Big Little Ate Kuya Ading, which was a nice touch to the organization. And this past year, I was the president of the organization with some of my friends who are also Filipino international students. The vice president was Chloe Suntay. She went to Brent, and our treasurer was Nero Salva. He went to International School Manila, and our external affairs representative was Bettina Talento, and she went to Assumption College. So it was this group of friends now, making Filipino Association bigger and better. And now I would say that it has been such a welcoming aspect, not just to Filipino international students, but Southeast Asian international students. And we've been working with Sherlyn with that. Every time Sherlyn makes us join admitted student events, where we already are looking at the students, seeing if they'll come into Syracuse, and if they're coming to Syracuse, we would want to welcome them. And this is such an amazing feeling now, because we didn't have that 4 years ago, where people welcoming us, people meeting with them, having lunch with them before school starts, or even meeting with them in New York City before they go to Syracuse to move in. I would say that happened for one of our closest friends now, Bettina Talento. It was her first time in the US with her brother, moving to the US to study for the next 4 years. And me and Nero were able to meet her in New York City before she moved in. And we went around the Met, brought her around and just chatted. And now she's one of the closest friends that we've had, and one of the best supporters of Filipino Student Association and the university, actually, as she's working other roles now. And I would also say that I was an orientation leader. One thing I always promote, is always carry, was that I'm a Filipino, and there are also a lot of Filipino Americans now. The population is growing, and it has been just wonderful to see this whole big family growing, because it's not just now for what I promoted again, it's not just for Filipino and Filipino Americans, but it's also for Southeast Asians, as they need a home, and we're there to welcome them. In addition, I'd also like to say the Filipino faculty and staff have been increasing. This past semester, before I graduated, I met with the Vice President of Diversity and Inclusivity, Dr. Mary Grace Almandres. She is Filipino. She grew up in San Diego, California. Um, and she's been one of the most amazing people to support Filipino Student Association and Filipino students. She was recently appointed to this role, so this is it was her first year, and working with her has been such an amazing thing. And there's a lot of Filipino students, Filipino faculty and staff as well. There are 9 more. And at one point, we all had like this gathering at Mary Grace Almendres's apartment. And it was really nice just to meet the faculty, the Filipino faculty and staff, and just to see that it's not just the students that the Filipino population is growing, but also for the faculty and staff. And also, I'd just like to add how the whole welcome experience coming into university, I would say firsthand from me as an orientation leader before, welcoming you is always made for the students and the parents, especially. That's what I always tell them. When you come into Syracuse University, it's always a warm hug from these orientation leaders. We're always here to help you. Um, and also how this community in Syracuse University has been one of the best things that I've experienced. I came from Ateneo Senior High School, and that community is already something that's memorable and I'll never forget. But now coming into Syracuse and being in Syracuse, it's another family that I have made. And with the Filipino Student Association, the faculty and staff, other academic and social life contributors to my experience has been really amazing. And we're always here to help. And I would say that some of us here, Filipino international students who are interested, and to those who are interested, come to Syracuse University, we are always there to welcome you throughout welcome you and help you throughout your stay in Syracuse University. So yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Enrique. I just want to second what Enrique says. Enrique did a great job, and I've been hearing that from many people on campus as well. So last year, we just hosted this International Counselor Upstate New York. So we had school counselors from different parts of the world, and one of the attendees is from our international center. So we have a dedicated center on campus just giving support to our international students, and they talk highly about what Enrique has done for the Filipino Student Association. I've been hearing great stories from students, not just from the Philippines, but students from Vietnam particularly. They're so proud of the FSA. So good job, Enrique, and thank you for doing that to Syracuse. So I believe we're now open for Q&A.
Okay, so thank you so much for that wonderful, informative, and enlightening presentation. So again, now our Q&A forum is open, and if you have any questions, please feel free to send them in the chat box addressed to everyone. Or if you're shy though, you can send your questions directly to me or to Ms. Sherlyn. So yeah, we can just wait a minute for everyone to just gather their thoughts and ask questions. So yeah, okay. Actually, I received a question right here. So for the you mentioned that like for English proficiency requirements, you said that you could like waive it for Filipino students, if I'm correct. So this question says, for English proficiency requirements, would we have to submit rather a certificate of English being used as a medium of instruction at my school, or are they just automatically waived for Filipino students?
So what I usually recommend students to do is when you fill out the common application, there's a question about about the language, right? So just write English as your first language. I mean, you're not trying to, which is true, right? Like Filipinos, yeah, we have Filipino as one of our language, but we also all speak in English. So if you write English as one of your first language, that will help us to know that we can waive your application. And then if you can just also email me requesting me to waive your English proficiency, and that you declared English as your first language and that English is the medium of instructions at your school, then I can add that to your profile in case I will miss reading your applications. If someone else will read, but I would say 95%, I'll be reading your application.
Okay, thank you so much. So I have another question. Since the first 2 years in Syracuse require mandatory dorming in campus, when we go into our junior year and senior year, are we still allowed to live on campus or would we have to live off campus?
Enrique, do you want to answer
Yes.
that question?
I can answer this. Yes, it's actually no problem. For my first 2 years, I lived on campus. I actually live in learning community because I was strategic with what dorm I wanted because sometimes the dorms can be far, like a bit of a walk. But yes, there's no problem with that. Lived on campus till my junior year in a dorm, and then I moved with my friends to an apartment this senior year. So it's actually no problem.
Okay, thank you so much. So another question is like, does the rent vary depending on the type of hall we stay in Syracuse?
The rent is almost the same when it comes to room. There's just a little bit of difference if you decided to have your own room, double or maybe sharing with 4 persons, but small differences. Yeah, but you'll have a mandatory meal plan as well. And I think we started last year that we are requiring our first year and second year to have this unlimited meal plan. We just want to make sure that you eat well, you'll be very healthy. And when it comes to meal plan, there's a wide variety of food you can choose from. If you have special dietary requirements, please let us know in advance. If you need, vegetarian, halal, kosher, whatever type of food, just want to make sure you'll be healthy all the time on campus.
Okay, thank you so much. There's another question actually related to dorming again. So, for dorms at Syracuse, are some of them like single gendered or are all like dorms there at Syracuse like co-ed?
Enrique, do you want to answer that?
What I know of, it's mostly co-ed dorms. But sometimes with the learning communities, that can help. I believe that they have like single gendered as well. Some of the learning communities are very accommodating. But majority that I know of, it's co-ed dorms.
Yeah, but
Okay.
we do have, in addition to that, because we do get students applying as well from the Middle East who are very, I would say, sensitive when it comes to co-ed. So we have a very limited opportunities or options for those students who prefer to live in a dorm with single gender as well.
Hey, thank you so much. So I have another question here. Is Syracuse University offering a CSS profile waiver?
Like I said, if you are international students, you do not need to apply for any scholarships because we're considering you automatically for merit-based. CSS is just for those students applying for need-based, which is unfortunately not for international students. But if you're a passport, US holder, or permanent residence, then yes, you can apply for CSS, FAFSA, and we can offer you the waive option as well.
Thank you. So there's another question quite related to the last one. I think you may have answered this, but I guess it's just for clarification. So the only available financial aid like Syracuse gives for international students is merit-based, so there is no need-based?
Yeah, so for international students, you are only qualified for merit-based, but we do give as much as full tuition. And if you get that, I believe we've offered 2 full tuition in the last few years, so 1 per year from the Philippines. I mean, every year we want to make sure that we're giving full ride strategically in different regions, and we've done in the past, I would say, a total of 2 to 3 full tuition ride to students from the Philippines. But again, they need to cover the cost of living, and that means the dorm and the meal plan.
Okay, thank you. Here's another question. Hi, I'm interested in Syracuse University, but I would like to ask if Syracuse looks for certain aspects of students, like does Syracuse take a look at certain extracurricular activities and awards, or do you guys look at their applications as a whole?
I'm sure you've heard from different from many US universities, the word holistic. So that is very true. We look at applications holistically. So we consider many factors. Of course, grades will play a very important factor, but we look at your extracurricular activities. We read your essay. We look at your recommendation letters, your institutional essay, like if you decided to apply to Syracuse, we want to make sure that you understand what you're applying for, that you know what is Syracuse University and what we can offer. Because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that if we admit you, you will be fit on campus and that you will be successful on campus as well. So you don't need to waste the first year of your college.
Okay, thank you. Actually, this is the last one on my end. So, is there an application fee when applying to Syracuse? And if so, is there an application waiver, if ever?
Yeah, so like other institutions in the US, we do have our application fee. I think it's $75 or $80, something like that. But yes, you can also request to waive the application fee. There's a process for that. Usually it's through the common application, and then you'll get support from your school counselor. But my advice, since I would love to get more students from the Philippines, if you are inspiring to get, let's say, trying to get merit scholarships from Syracuse University, please do not ask for waiver, because if you ask for waiver, we will have this understanding that you may not afford to pay for the difference, like for the cost of living, right? Because we can only offer you as much as the full tuition. So that's how we read the application. So if you can just, just try to pay for the application fee so that we will not have that red flag that, oh, that student probably will not be able to support. So instead of you be awarded for a certain, high merit scholarships, it might be given to another student. I hope that makes sense. But yes, we can waive your application fee if needed.
All right, so thank you. That's actually the last question on my end. If ever there is none on your end, I think that means that we can close the Q&A forum. I think that was a very informative Q&A forum, and I was able to learn a lot more about Syracuse. So, yeah, okay. With that being said, thank you so much again, Ms. Sherlyn Saichua, and thank you, Mr. Enrique Perjula, for your time. And if you would like to get to know more about Syracuse, please fill out this interest form, which will be sent in the chat right now. I will just Sorry. Okay. So I'm going to send this to everyone here in the meeting. So you can fill out this form again to let Syracuse University know that you're interested and they can add you to their mailing list. So yeah, once again, thank you so much, Ms. Sherlyn, Mr. Enrique, and Syracuse University. So now I guess that brings our first college fair session to a close, and we'll see you again at 9 p.m. for our second college fair session. Thank you so much again. So hi again. Our college fair session, next college fair session rather, will begin in around 15 minutes. So do look forward to it. We are going to have Miss Cassidy Martin from Smith College. So do look forward to it, guys. Thank you. Hi, hello.
Hi, good morning. Well, good afternoon to you, good evening to you, good morning to me.
Yes, hi. Okay, so I guess we can start in 6 minutes since
Okay,
5 minutes now, since this session is scheduled for 9. But
yeah,
while we're waiting, if you would like, you can test your um PowerPoint if ever, just to make sure everything's fine.
okay, perfect. Yeah, and sorry I jumped on a few minutes late. My coffee was still still making this morning. So, okay, perfect. Let's see if it cooperates. Oops. All right, so could you see this if I share
Yes, I can
this?
see it clearly.
Okay, perfect. Good. Yay. I have that presentation and then another document. And I also was maybe going to show our international student website. So those will be the things I have. But if that is working, then I think we should be good with all of them.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so we will start in 5 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Brianna, you have had so many of these sessions, correct, that you've attended? Because you've been doing this for 2 weeks, is that correct?
Yes, I've been doing this for yeah, over 2 weeks actually.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm getting used to it. I'm getting used to it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just to let you know, this session is already being recorded, so we're gonna upload this as well to Camp's YouTube channel. A lot of people watch
Perfect.
the webinars there as well.
Awesome.
Okay, it's 9 my time, so I think that means that we can start. So, hello and good evening, everyone, and good morning to Miss Cassidy. So, again, welcome to CAMP 2023's Annual Study Abroad Conference with the theme Pathfinding, Trekking to College. So, I'm Brianna Billano, CAMP's College Fair Manager, and your host for tonight's exciting college fair. So, we have such a wonderful lineup of colleges for you, and we hope that you guys will enjoy. However, before we start, here are just a few reminders to take note of while attending our college fair. So please turn your mic and camera off as the college representatives present. And while the presentation happens, do take note of any questions you may have, as we will have a respective Q&A portion after each college presentation is done. Our college fair sessions will be recorded as mentioned. If you would like to go back and listen to their presentations, please visit CAMP's YouTube channel after the conference. And if you are interested in the colleges presenting, we will release interest forms after the college fair, which you can fill out to learn more about them. So now that's done, it's time to begin our college fair with our second college presenting tonight. So let's welcome Smith College. So based in Massachusetts in the United States, Ms. Cassidy Martin is here to represent Smith College and answer questions about the college's academics, student life, and definitely so much more. So let's give her a virtual round of applause. So Ms. Cassidy, take it away.
Thank you, Brianna, for that wonderful and lovely introduction. It is so lovely to kind of virtually meet you all. I'm really excited to be here with you. Thank you so much for joining this session to learn more about Smith. I hope I can answer all your questions and provide you a lot of wonderful information. And I hope if this is your second college presentation of the night, it is not too boring and it's not too slow for you. So yes, thank you all again for being here. And I really look forward to hearing your questions and talking to all of you during our portion of the Q&A. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. I have a presentation, and I'm going to start just by giving you all a little introduction of who I am, and then we're going to kind of jump into things. Okay, perfect. So let me go here. So here, I'm just going to start with this, and I'm going to switch around to a couple tabs. But just to give you an introduction, my contact information is down there in the bottom corner. So if you would like to write it down, send me an email, talk to me at any time. I am more than happy to answer your questions, to talk to you, and I'm thrilled to do so. So like Brianna said, my name is Cassidy Martin. I am with Smith College in Massachusetts, and I will show you where we are on a map in a little bit, just to kind of orient you a bit. I am the Assistant Director of Admissions here at Smith, and I specifically work with international students. So my territory is kind of the whole world. The only part of the world that I don't have is Latin America and the Caribbean. But the Philippines is absolutely my world, and I'm hoping, maybe not this year, but in the next couple of years, I will make a trip out to the Philippines and be able to see you and meet you all in person. I'm not sure what class years you all are, but maybe if you're younger, we can meet in a year or two in person. But if not, we fortunately have these very wonderful Zoom platforms, online platforms that we can connect with. So that's a little bit about me. And again, if you have questions about me or how I came to Smith or what I do, please ask later on. So before we jump into the information session, let me just switch over here to the map. So I think you can all see my map okay. And so I want you to all focus on this little section called Northampton. This is the town that Smith is in. And I want to give you some big points to orient. So here's New York. Here is Boston, and we are kind of sandwiched in the middle of the triangle, right? So we are in Massachusetts, and then if I zoom out, just to give you a sense, we are quite far north. So up here we have Canada, right? And here is Maine, and down here is Florida. And so just to give you a sense of where we are in the world, and over here is California. So that's where Smith is. So let me jump back into my presentation. Perfect. Okay. And yes, here is a lovely map, but I wanted to zoom into that a little more. So just to give you some numbers and stats to start with, we are a gender inclusive women's college. What in the world does that mean? What am I talking about? So in the US, we have 7 schools that are still identified as women colleges. So these schools were founded many, many, many years ago when education in the US was only available to men. And so people were like, hey, this isn't fair. Women also deserve to get an education. And so we started women's colleges, which have maintained their identity and their really strong sense of self and their wonderful professional development and academics throughout the years. What I mean when I say gender inclusive is women's college, obviously the world has changed from the 1700s. So we are super inclusive on campus in everything we do, in admissions, in academics, in housing, in clubs, you name it. So what that means is if you identify as a trans woman, as a non-binary student, as a trans man, any kind of anything that you identify as, we welcome you on campus. So we are really excited to share that identity and support our women's college identity, also recognizing that we are really a university that uplifts marginalized voices, right? So whether that be cis women, trans women, non-binary students, gender inclusive students, right? We really want to uplift all of those voices. Just a little bit about the numbers up here that you'll see. 40% of our students are STEM majors, which is an interesting data point because at other universities in the US, a lot of women are not in these STEM fields, right? So you might see another university in the US and like, oh, 50% is STEM. But you should ask how many of those are women or non-binary students, right? 30% are arts and humanities, and 30% are social science majors. We have about 2,500 undergraduates. Most of our campus is undergraduate students. We do have a few very small grad programs, like we have a master's in social work, and we have a couple small programs like that, but our campus is really dedicated to you as the undergraduate students. And you see over here, garden-like campus. It is gorgeous, right? It's this big, expansive campus. You feel like you're in a forest. It's so nice. So if you love nature, this is your place to be. You will feel so at home, and you won't even have to leave campus. And then things that will be of interest to you all, especially as international students, we have about 15% of our student body who identifies as international citizens in our international student cohort. This number is growing and we are excited about that. We have continuously received wonderful apps from all over the world, tons of different countries. We have some Filipino students on campus now with us. Unfortunately, they cannot be with me this morning to present because it is summer and they are not on campus, but we have them. And if you would like to get in contact with a current Smith Filipino student, please let me know. We also have 20-ish% of our students who identify as first gen and 33% of students who identify as students of color. So that is just Smith at a glance with the numbers. Let me continue. Okay, perfect. So our academics are one of my favorite parts about Smith and one of the most amazing parts of Smith. We have an amazing, really strong, robust academic program. And a thing that is really interesting that is uncommon in the US and also uncommon abroad is this thing called an open curriculum. Now you might be asking, what is she talking about? What does she mean? Like, am I going to have no direction? Will I not learn anything? No, not at all. The open curriculum is really to give you a chance, each individual student, to make sure you are pursuing all of your academic interests. And the beautiful thing about Smithies is that we do not put you in a box, right? You can be into string theory of quantum physics, and you can also be an amazing ballet dancer, right? And we really want you to pursue all of those interests. And we want you to do what you love. And we're not just going to say, okay, great. This person is a biology major, so they can only take biology classes. In fact, we don't want you to just take biology classes. We want you to do whatever you love to do. So what I mean with the open curriculum is that the only required class that we have on campus is going to be a first year English 101 class. Everyone takes that. Writing is going to be a really important part of your time here at Smith. Smithies write really well, they're engaged, and they express their amazing academic, beautiful brains through their writing a lot. So we really just want to make sure everyone gets on the same page because we are all coming from different places all over the country, all over the world. And so to have that writing class is like, okay, let's start here. Apart from that writing class, you really get to dive in and choose whatever you are most interested in. Part of that open curriculum is that you do not have to declare your major, your field of study, until the end of your sophomore year, which is your second year. And so that means that you have a lot of time to explore. Like, go take that women and gender studies class, go take that seminar about the impact of the French Revolution, right? Who knows? Whatever it is you're interested in, go take it. When you declare a major, you get to choose your own advisor, which is really wonderful. Our faculty at Smith is incredible, and they encourage students, and they're smart and wonderful and dynamic, and they are so supportive of whatever you want to do. So let's say I was your English 101 professor, right? And you and I had a really great relationship in that class. Maybe in 2 years, you're going to come to me and you're going to say, Cassidy, I loved English 101. You inspired me to be a writer, right? I want to keep doing this. Will you please be my English advisor? Because now I'm an English major. And I will be like, yes, absolutely. I would love to be your English advisor, right? And so you get to build these really, really close relationships with Smith. Like you see in the next point, it says we have a 9-to-1 student faculty ratio, which is incredible. I'm not sure the size of all of your high schools, right? But in my high school, it was not that small. I had maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 students, right? With one teacher. And at Smith, we intentionally do that smaller ratio because we really, really want you to be able to engage with your peers, engage with your professors. And it is very much a community environment, right? We are not going to put you in the back of a lecture hall with 300 people in the class and you just listen to a presentation. That is not the way we like to learn at Smith, and we don't think that is the best for our students. So with that 9-to-1 student faculty ratio, you really do get those connections, that support, that dynamic classroom setting that we're really going for. And I should also say, with the open curriculum, right, you do have help. We are not just throwing you into the water and being like, hey, good luck, right? No, you have absolute tons of support. We have deans. You will be assigned an international dean. You have me as the international admissions officer, right? If you come to Smith, you can contact me at any time and I can be like, hey, yeah, let's talk about what that class is. You will have an academic advisor before you declare a major who will help you choose these classes that you want to take. You will also have the wonderful, wonderful resource of our International Student and Scholars Office. They are my favorite department on campus. They are amazing. I will tell you a little bit more about them later, but just so you know, you do have a lot of those resources for the open curriculum, choosing your classes, where do I want to go, what are my options. Another thing that is really a cornerstone of Smith is that we have amazing research opportunities. Like I mentioned before, most of our campus is undergraduate students, which is incredible because all of those research opportunities are directed solely towards you as the undergraduate students. So at some campuses in the US, they're going to be huge research universities, and they're going to have amazing professors and amazing research. But you as an undergraduate in your first year might have zero opportunities to connect with those. Even as a senior, you might have zero opportunities. Like, those research opportunities are really targeted to graduate or PhD students. So when I say research, it also makes me really happy at Smith that not only our STEM, science, math students have access to research, we have research in all of our majors, in all of our disciplines. So that is wonderful and exciting. I will tell you a quick story about one of our amazing summer tour guides. She is about to start her 3rd year at Smith. And this past summer, she has been on campus working with us as a tour guide. And she has also been doing this very impressive philosophical research on an ancient Indian philosophy text. So she is working one-on-one with a professor, and they are doing this massive overhaul translation of this ancient philosophy text, right? It goes way above my head, but she is so excited. And it's incredible, right? Like I said, she's going into her 3rd year. So after just 2 years at Smith, she is working on this philosophy translation. And the professor she is working with one-on-one is going to publish this translation and their work in the world of philosophy. And her name will actually be at the beginning, the little introduction of the work that she has done as a sophomore at Smith. Another thing I want to mention is we are part of a 5-college consortium. So let me go back one slide actually to this map. So in Western Massachusetts, which is this area of Western Massachusetts where we're located, there are also 5 colleges that are right close near us. They are the University of Massachusetts Amherst, Mount Holyoke College, Hampshire College. I'm going to forget that. I will look up the rest of them later. Apologies. But the 5 colleges we are a part of basically give you 5 times the opportunities that you would have had if you just stayed at Smith. So the beauty of the 5 college consortium is you can take classes at any of these colleges for free. You can join a club at any of these colleges for free. You can be a part in student social organizations. You can have friends at the different colleges, and it is all included, right? You are a Smithy and a Smith student, but your resources just expanded by 5 times. And we are all connected by this wonderful, beautiful bus system that is free. Again, very easy to use. And I think the furthest bus ride you would ever have is 15 minutes, maybe. It's not far. It's very, very close. One of the other ones is Amherst College that just came back to me. And Smith College, we're number 5. There we go. There's all 5. So that is a really amazing resource. There are a couple of these systems, couple of these consortiums in the US. When you are looking at colleges, if you are interested in a consortium, I think that it is really good to start looking into the details of that, right? What does that mean? What do I actually get from my consortium? It depends on the consortium. Like for us with our Smith College consortium, you do not have to pay, like I mentioned, to join all of those other resources. At some consortiums, you do. You might have to pay to take a class at this school, right? Or you might have to put a petition in to take a class at this school. Not the case at Smith. And your classes and your overlap is not limited to if we have that class. If we have that class at Smith and you prefer to take it at Amherst, go ahead, right? Like you can do that. So you have a lot of flexibility. And this is also great in sharing research and sharing data and making new friends and expanding our circle. So that is a little bit about our academics here at Smith. So let's talk about a little bit the power of a women's college. Like I said, more women are likely to be STEM majors than they are elsewhere. Women's college graduates make up 2% of total graduates in the US specifically, but they make up about 40% of students who go on to do a higher degree, right? Whether that's a master's degree or a PhD, you are the focus of all the attention. So like I was talking about earlier with the research opportunities, same thing with a women's college. So if we are at a coeducational institution, right, you have to share. We have all genders at coeducational institutions. Here, it is solely focused on half, right? We cut our options by half. And our professors solely focused on you, our research solely focused on you, our internships solely focused on you. I should mention that our internships are amazing here at Smith. We have a thing called the Praxis, Praxis, if you want to look it up, program. And that guarantees every student, international and domestic, funding for one internship while you were at Smith. And so if you are doing an internship in your home country, you are guaranteed $3,500 to fund that internship. If you are doing it in another country that is not your home country, you are guaranteed $4,500. So if you all are in the US, right, you choose to stay on campus over the summer and you get an internship in maybe Boston, great. We will give you that money to make sure you can live, to make sure you can eat, to make sure you have all of those resources available to you. And because we really, really want you to have those internship opportunities, and we do not want that to be limited by anything at all. The power of a women's college also specifically at Smith is our alumni network is incredible. It's amazing. Smithies are so passionate about this amazing community that they have been a part of, that they have loved, that they have built up their whole life. And they are so happy to connect with you, to help you, to connect you with another Smithy who might know about something you're interested in, to tell you about what they studied and how they ended up in their career path. So if you come to Smith, if you become a Smithy, do not forget about that alumni network because they are truly incredible. Okay. Let's talk about some of our co-curricular opportunities. What do I mean when I say co-curricular? That means everything you are doing outside the classroom. So if you are looking at a bunch of US schools, you might know this, you might not, right? A lot of US universities are going to describe those co-curricular opportunities, anything that is not in the classroom. I already talked about the Praxis internship a little bit. I'm going to skip the first bullet of study abroad and I'm going to jump into the Lazarus Center because I just talked about it with Praxis, excuse me. So our Lazarus Center and postgrad outcomes is, you might have heard things referred to as a career center. It's basically our career center. So they help with the Praxis internships. They help with any internships. They help with funding. They help with making those Smithy connections to, hey, who can I talk to if I want to do whatever engineering science field that I want to do, right? Great, go talk to them. And they are really amazing. You can walk in the first day you are on campus and they encourage you to come as much and as little as you can, right? So if you want to go talk to them, if you want a standing appointment with the Lazarus Center every week, go ahead. They also help you if you want to apply to a graduate school, right? Maybe you want to do public health and you don't know how to be in. You can start that, right? If you want to do anything, they're your go-to office. So they are a really great resource on campus. They also have an Instagram. They also have a website. If you would like to learn more, please go stalk them online. Hold on one second. Perfect. Okay. And then our next point to talk about is the study abroad that we offer at Smith. We offer amazing study abroad programs. We have 4 programs that are Smith run with Smith professors. And then we also work with over 100 other different programs that will get you to every kind of program, every kind of focus, every continent. I don't think we go to Antarctica, but other than that, we can get you to every continent. And it really depends on what you're interested in, right? Maybe you are taking German and you would love to go study abroad in Munich and you want to do that program. Great, do it. If you want to study, I don't know, the biological effects of climate change in the Galapagos Islands, okay, do that too, right? Like it is all dependent on what you want to do, what you need. If you want to focus on classes in your major, you can while you study abroad, depending on where you are and how many classes you take. You can also take a semester and take new classes that are exciting to you, that are different. What's cool about study abroad, for all of you, you will be studying abroad, right? Like your whole college experience will be abroad, but you can also do a different study abroad. So when I talk to my international students, I kind of call study abroad like study abroad round 2, because you're in it, right? You're studying abroad, you're interacting abroad, you're living abroad. But hey, maybe you want to take a break from the US and you're like, I want to go to a different country. You absolutely can. And one of my favorite things about our study abroad program at Smith is that all of the financial aid, which we'll get to, that you receive from Smith as a student when you are on Smith's campus goes with you abroad. So you might be thinking, right, like, hey, I already got myself here from the Philippines. It's an expensive flight, right? Like maybe I can't make it work. If you have financial aid at Smith, you can also afford to study abroad, which is amazing. And I love that we make it super accessible to give more students that opportunity. We also have a really great resource on campus. They're called the Office of Equity and Inclusion. And they are part of, the whole campus inclusion community, and they really work with every kind of student, right? They're wonderful people if you just need someone to talk to, and they also work to make all of our spaces more equitable and more inclusive. That is for international students, students of color, non-binary students, right? Any kind of person who might feel like they need to be included on campus. The Center for Equity and Inclusion is really working towards that in the classes, in our extracurriculars, in our clubs, right? Anything, any space on campus, they're going to work to make that the best that they can make it. And our SHOT Center for Health and Wellness, the students just call it SHOT. That is our health center on campus. They're amazing. As an international student, when you arrive on Smith's campus, you are automatically registered with healthcare through Smith. You do not have to deal with that. The International Student and Scholars Office will deal with all of that for you, and they will make sure that you are registered with all the things you need. This includes physical and mental health, right? So if you are having a hard time and you need to go talk to someone, you need a counselor, great, go to the shot center. If you fall and you're bleeding, also go to the shot center, right? So they are going to cover all of your needs, and this care is absolutely free to all students, which is amazing. And maybe you have a really specific problem that you need help with and that it requires a specialist. The Smith Shot Center will also send you to a specialist in the region, right? And they will make sure you have the support and the help you need to get there. I want to mention that's not on the screen, but something that is unique and wonderful to our international students. You all will arrive on Smith's campus about a week before everyone else. So you have an orientation at you and the International Student and Scholars Office. Like I mentioned before, they are awesome and engaged. You get to do a scavenger hunt on campus. They kind of orient you to, where am I going? What am I doing? They take you to a bank and they show you how to set up a US bank account, right? They get your phone working. So all of those little things that seem simple, but when you move abroad for the first time, they're like, crap, how do I do this? And so we have all of that taken care of. It is all built into your international student orientation, and it's just really fun also. So that's another great resource that we have on campus. Okay, the housing and dining is a little bit, oops, so sorry. I'm going the wrong direction. Hold on 1 second, I'm so sorry. Let me stop the share and go back to the presentation. On the slide I wanted. Apologize, everyone. Okay, let's see. Technological issues, right? Okay. Okay, perfect. Now let me go back. Here we are. All right, housing and dining. So we have a really unique system of housing that is unique to you as international students, but is also unique to our domestic students, because not many campuses, none that I know of in the US, do this. So we do not live in traditional dorms. We live in houses. So you can see here, some of them look dorm-ish, but they're all houses. So what that means is you have a homey feel, right? You live in a house, and you have students from all class years. So you have first year students, sophomores, juniors, and seniors in the same house, which is not the same as it is on most residential campuses. You are guaranteed housing all 4 years at Smith. It is part of your tuition, right? It's just here you are, you have housing. Most students actually stay in the same house all 4 years. And it's really cool, right? Because as you advance in a class year, you have new people coming in and new people going out, and you have different vibes and different traditions and different parts of the house that are really, really essential. So it's really cool, and it's also building that community, right? We do not divide you like all the first years have to go here, all the seniors have to go here. You are part of this really inclusive, welcoming community from day one where you are living, right? And that makes such a difference. All of the houses have like kitchens in them. Some have specific menus. There's a vegan house, there's a vegetarian house, there's a sustainable house where they source all their food locally and cook, right? Just like really, really cool. And of course, kosher and halal, vegan, gluten-free options available in our many dining halls and in our houses. Okay, perfect. I'm going to skip this slide just because we kind of talked about this a little bit, but if you have questions, please make me circle back. I want to make sure I get to this part, which is going to be really important to all of you. And I want to make sure that I give you at least 20 minutes for the Q&A. So like I said, I'm not sure what class year you all are, but the admission and the financial aid process depends on where you are in the class year. So I'm going to give you a bit of an overview if you are a junior or a senior, or where you are right now. And we're going to talk about what that means for you. So the admissions cycle operates on the US school timeline. So something to know, right? And so what that means is the application will open for seniors August 1 of their senior year. So what does that mean for you if you're in the middle of your senior year? That's okay, right? It will be August 1, no matter where you are in your senior year, but that is the timeline. So the application opens August 1st, and we have 3 rounds of application, which I will get to later. Basically, they're the deadlines for when you need to submit your applications. And this is really standard. This is not just a Smith thing. All schools will have these deadlines and these application rounds. Okay, so let me back up. So we're here in August 1, right? The application will open. It is absolutely free to apply to Smith. There is no application fee. You send in your materials and that's it. We are part of the Common Application and the Coalition Application. If you are a senior, if you have started to look at universities in the US before, this will probably sound familiar to you. If you have not, that's okay, no worries, I'll explain. Basically, there are 2 application platforms where you are able to apply to US universities and colleges. A lot of schools use the Common Application, a lot use the Coalition Application. It does not matter. At Smith, we don't care, right? Whatever is easiest for you, use that. We do a holistic evaluation of your application. That means we are looking at you as a whole person. It really depends, right? There are thousands of colleges and universities in the US, and each one is going to read a little bit differently. So my advice to you as international students, every school will have the me at their university, right? They will have your go-to international person who is like your contact. So I encourage you to find that person at each one of the schools you are interested in. So if it's me, great, like I will give you my email again at the end, or if you wrote it down earlier, contact me, right? Like ask your questions. It is our job to help you make this process more simple and easier to navigate. So that being said, the holistic application, we are looking at you as a whole person. We care about your academics. We care about you outside of a classroom. Like, what do you do, right? We care about your essay, and we care about what your teachers have to say about you. So the transcript is obviously going to be the biggest part that we are going to look at. That is, how have you done in your 4 years of high school, right? Like, what classes have you taken? Have you taken the hardest classes at your school, or have you taken I'm just kind of here classes at my school, right? And we're going to look at how you did in those classes. We do not care what challenging courses you have taken. We know that every school is different, and we know that every school offers different opportunities. So, like I said, each university you are applying to will have the me version of their university, right? Like, I know the transcripts from the Philippines are going to look different from US transcripts, and I know what I'm getting myself into, right? And I know what I'm reading. So that is really good, right? Like, it's not, your app is not going to be the first app we have read from the Philippines, right? Like, we know the system and we know how to read your application to make sure we are being the most fair we can to you as a student. We do ask for 3 letters of recommendation from your teachers. We usually suggest that those letters of recommendation come from teachers in your last 2 years of high school, right? In that junior and senior year, usually because they know you the best and it's your most recent academic performance, excuse me. So we also recommend that those recommendations come from core classes. Usually people talk about the core classes as a language, right? A second language if you're taking it, math, science, and social sciences, and that could also be history depending on your curriculum. If, however, you're really close with, let's say you're an amazing violin player and you have worked with a tutor for 10 years and this person has known you forever, that would also be a great recommendation to submit, right? You should choose people who know you really well and who will say nice things about you. And so that will be something that is really helpful to us to get a sense of, okay, who is the student in the classroom, right? Like, what are they like? Because we can see the numbers, but we also want to see, how do you engage with your peers? How do you engage with your teachers? The next thing on this list is the essay. So Smith requires the Common Application Essay, which is the standard essay. If you are applying to schools in the US, you will have to write this essay. It is 650 words. It is part of the Common Application, right? So when you go in and you register, you'll be able to see this essay. And the prompt changes every year, but you usually have a few options. And one of them is just an open prompt, right? Just like, tell us about yourself or something meaningful to you. Or you can also answer some of the questions that they will provide. And that essay opens on August 1st with that Common Application. And that co-curricular activities part, do you remember when I talked about all the wonderful things you could do on campus? That is what we want to hear, what you're doing in high school, right? Do you work, right? Do you have a job? Are you a part of a club? Are you doing any kind of community organization? Are you involved in a religious organization, right? Like anything you do in your life, tell us. We want to know about it. And you put that all in the common application. Testing is optional with the exception of an English proficiency test. If the dominant language of your high school instruction is English, you can waive this requirement. If your whole high school experience has been in English, you just email me and you say, hey, this is my English diploma, right? Or my English classes. And I say, great, you don't have to take that. If the language of instruction, the primary language of instruction in your high school is not English, we do ask that you take a language proficiency test. We accept the TOEFL, the Duolingo, and we accept one more, and I will get back to you on that information. So that is for you to know. The testing, the US testing, you do not have to take, right? Because you are not in the US. Okay, an interview, optional but recommended. Here's what that means. So we are changing our process a little bit this year. You can only have an interview with us at Smith if you have already applied. So that means that if you apply in August, right, or that's really early, let's say you apply in October, which is more normal. You apply in August and you're like, I would really love to have an interview at Smith. We can arrange a virtual or an in-person interview for students who have applied. It is not required at all, right? I think that this is scary a lot of times, right? Because in our minds as students, we're like, oh no, this interview is like the only thing that's going to matter on my admissions decision. That is not the case, right? We have the information we need from all the previous parts that I mentioned. The interview is really for you, right? To talk to someone at Smith, to say, what is happening, right? Like, do I want to go here? Do I like this? Am I excited about this process? And so I would say the interview is more for you to learn more about Smith and show you're engaged than it is for us on our end when we read your application. Okay, those rounds I mentioned before, we have 3 decision rounds. 2 of them are early decision. So early decision is something a little strange about US colleges and universities. All schools, well, 95% of schools will offer an early decision. That is a binding commitment. So that means you should apply early decision to Smith if you think Smith is the best place in the whole world. I love it more than anything else, and I want to go to Smith, right? If you apply early decision, the message you are sending to us on the college side is, I'd love your school. If you admit me, I will come. The only kind of little asterisk star there is, we understand that the financial aid is tricky, right? Especially as international students. So if your financial aid does not work, that is the only time you can say, no, I'm not coming with early decision. So if you would like to compare more options, right? If you love 3 schools and you're not sure, the best decision for you would probably be early decision. I'm sorry, regular decision, because that is not binding. So you can apply to many schools, regular decision. You can only apply to 1 school, early decision. Now, let's talk about the financial aid piece, which I just kind of alluded to. We work with, for domestic students, it will be the FAFSA and the CSS profile. For international students, it will be the CSS profile and the international student profile. That is basically finance statement from international students. We need full demonstrated need. That makes no sense. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So in the US, it's this very complicated kind of puzzle of moving money around for financial aid. Please check with this with your international representative at each school you're applying to, because this can change a lot depending on the school. But at Smith, what we mean is you fill out these forms and we look at, your family's financial situation and taking all these wonderful factors. Financial services does that for us. And they will give you a package, right? So let's say I use the low extreme and the high extreme. Let's say you have no money to pay for college, right? Like you literally have $0. If like our formula confirms that you have $0, you can come to Smith and you can pay $0, right? So full demonstrated need. The need is how much money do you need to come to Smith? So we will provide financial aid to cover all of the need that you have as a student to come to Smith. And a very other really, really important part is that this meeting your full need is done with no loans. That means that when we give you this money, we say, Cassidy, yes, we know that you have no money and we are going to meet that need for you. And we are not going to give you loans, which means it is money that you do not have to pay back, which is amazing and transformative and really kind of puts into practice that thing we talked about being equitable and inclusive, right? Like we want students to be able to afford to come to Smith. Okay, so the financial aid package will also include, as of this year, a stipend for international students to get to campus, right? Because we know that it is a long flight, especially from the Philippines. We know that that might be a real barrier to coming to the US to study. Our International Student Services Office just passed something that will be active this coming school year, right? Where you, as part of your financial aid package, will get a stipend to fly to Smith. Okay. And startup grants are part of the financial aid package. Usually they happen more with domestic students. It's just the way the finances work. So I'm going to skip that for now. And the need-based package will include a Smith grant. Grant is money you do not have to pay back, loan you do, and work study, which is sometimes, we'll be like, okay, great. As part of your financial aid package, you can work on campus for 10 hours a week or something like that, right? So just different ways of making the money work. We don't really offer much merit aid, just 5% of all applicants, international and domestic, annually. So it's really just the people who are like, I don't know, the top 30 students in our class, right? But most of our aid will come in the need-based form. Okay, that is confusing, I know. If you have more questions, please please ask me and I will try and answer them, but I hope that gives you a bit of a summary of what financial aid looks like. Okay, so this is the end of my presentation. I'm going to stop talking at you. Sorry, that I'm going to put it actually on this first slide so you can see my contact information. I'm also going to drop this in the chat just so you have it. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and invite you all to ask me any and everything that you would like to know.
Okay, so thank you, Miss Cassidy, for that. And now our Q&A forum is open. If you have any questions, please feel free to send them in the chat box, addressed to everyone, or if you're shy, you can send your questions directly to me. So I think we can give them a minute just for everyone to gather
Absolutely.
their thoughts and ask questions. And actually with that, I got a question. So this is about the dorming situation, since I know like for me, the dorming situation is actually quite unique, but really interesting to learn. So since the self-governing homes are open to all years, so does this mean that we can live on campus all 4 years, and if so, is this mandatory?
Yes, and almost yes is my answer to those questions. So great question. Thank you to whoever asked that. Yes, you are guaranteed to live on campus all 4 years, right? So that also differs depending on where you go in the US. So again, please ask those questions because some schools only will guarantee you housing the first 2 years and the next 2 years you live off campus, right? So it really depends. At Smith, you do not have to pay more. It is included in your package that you can live on campus all 4 years. That being said, you do not have to. You can, there are a small number of students in their senior year who do choose to live off campus, but it is a really small number. Students love the housing system we have. They find it wonderful and community building and like deep connections. And also there are these beautiful houses that have really pretty slanted ceilings, right? It's a really nice place to live. and you feel like you're in a home. Like I said, you have a kitchen, you have a house, you have like these cool windows. And so it makes people feel really welcome. If you do choose to live off campus your senior year, you have to submit a petition to the housing office, right? But it is really not common. Students just fall in love with their houses. You also can change houses. Like it said on the slide, most students live in their house, the same house for 4 years. That is not binding, right? If you don't like your house, change houses. If you want to go to a different house, switch houses, right? We do what we can to make you feel your best in your living situation. Because obviously, if you don't feel comfortable in your living situation, you're not going to feel comfortable in the classroom, outside of the classroom, on campus, right? So we do everything that we can to make you feel comfortable, but you can live off campus if you want, but most students choose not to because of this really wonderful system we have.
All right, thank you so much. So I know you did touch on like the significant percentage of international students at Smith. So with that, I'd like to ask, what's the international student life like at Smith? Are there any organizations, clubs, or associations available specifically for international students?
Brianna, thank you so much. I realized I forgot to share this lovely Instagram account that I had literally pulled up just for this. Okay, thank you very much. I'm just going to share my screen really quickly. This is the International Student and Scholars Office. I mentioned them, and they have this amazing Instagram. I can also drop this link in the chat. Go follow them. They are so helpful, right? They are so wonderful, and they give you all of these things. Like, what do I do about my textbooks? What is work study advice? And we have like, what should I pack or what should I buy here, right? So they have really wonderful resources. That being said, we also have an international student organization on campus. They are dedicated to students who are from all over the world, like I said, and they meet, they have cultural events. There is this one event that happens, I want to say February. Basically think of it as a giant dance battle. It's super fun. It is put on by the International Student Scholars Office, and it's like co-run by them and also the International Student Organization on campus. And students come, and if you have a traditional dance from your country, you can perform it. And it's truly like a dance battle, and it is so fun. There's also a really great event where I'm forgetting what month it is. I want to say November, where international students all make dishes from their home country or from their home culture. And that is put on by the International Student Organization, right? And obviously international students attend, but domestic students attend too. I attend. I love free food. So, there's a lot of connection on campus and a really, really big sense of bridging that community. And I think something that we do really well at Smith is making sure our international students have their cohort of other international students where they find their people, their voice, similar experiences, but also where they find like connection with the domestic students. I think it is something we are all really excited about, that it's not just like, okay, international students go over here and domestic students over here, right? It's one cohesive community, and we really want that to continue. And we love that is what we do. I just dropped that Instagram link in the chat. If you want to go stalk them, please do. It is really great resources.
Hey, thank you so much. So I have another question. So, so does this mean when we apply for Smith College, we apply as undecided? Since you said that we do we do like finalize or somewhat like our major around sophomore year, if I do remember correctly. So so do we when we apply for Smith College, do we apply as undecided?
Yeah, what a great question. Thank you for asking. So yes, everyone who goes into Smith is technically undecided, even if you know, right? There are some students who know, some students who have known since they were 5 years old what they want to do, right? And that is all you go. And that you come to campus and the first day at Smith, you're like, hey, this is my thing. This is what I want to do. That is awesome. But in the application process, yes, everyone is technically classified as undecided. In that common application, Smith and everyone else you're applying to in the US is going to ask you for academic interests. So that is the only thing we see. So we do not say like, okay, Brianna's going to come in as a history major, right? We might see, oh, this student Brianna is really interested in history. great, right? But that's the only thing we see. So everyone technically comes in undecided.
Okay, thank you so much. All right. There's another question here. So it's also actually about the application process. So
Yeah.
what do you say Smith looks at for their students? Does Smith take a look at certain extracurricular activities and awards, or would you look at applications as a whole?
So yes is the answer, right? The short answer is yes, we look at everything. I think the priority, which might help, which is what this question is getting at, is the biggest thing, like the most important thing we're looking at is your transcript, right? You are coming to Smith to study. Obviously, we have wonderful programs, we have wonderful extracurriculars, you will have an amazing, fulfilling time, but you're coming to school, right? So that's the thing we're looking at. It is a little different, right? So I think it depends a lot. It shifts a little, I should say, when we look at extracurricular things for domestic students and international students, right? Because in the US, there's kind of a formula, if you will, right? Like everyone does the same clubs, everyone goes to the same thing, right? And so that is what we're looking at for the US. Like I said, it's really nice that every college will have a dedicated international person because we know that your like after school day is going to look really different in the Philippines than it would in Massachusetts, right? Like we live across the world from each other and that is okay. So basically when I ask for extracurriculars, I'm saying, what matters to you, right? Like, what do you do outside the classroom? If that is an amazing award that you won because you did something super impressive, absolutely, I want to hear about it. If that is you help your 5-year-old sister study for her coloring quiz every Thursday, great. Tell me about it, right? So it's more of just a sense of what do you do with your free time? That being said, if you ever have any questions, right? If you're applying to a US school and you're like, they're asking me for this weird thing, like, I don't know what they want, right? Like, does this count? I'm not sure. Email your designated international counselor. So if you came to me and you were like, hey, I'm part of this like book group and we all really love like science fantasy books and we all read together. And I don't know if that counts. Like, is that an extracurricular? One, it is, yes. Two, ask and I will be happy to answer your questions. Any international counselor will be more than happy to answer those questions for you and kind of help you navigate that. What do they actually want me to tell them? I hope that answers the question, whoever asked it.
Okay, thank you so much. And here's another question. So does Smith provide full ride scholarships for international students?
So that question, the terminology is tricky, right? So the term that everyone has heard is a full ride scholarship, right? You go to college and you pay no money. Okay, so we do not provide full ride scholarships like that, but the thing we do provide is that financial aid, that really robust financial aid. So I would encourage you all to think about scholarships and financial aid as together. They work together, right? So financial aid is the equivalent of a scholarship. Usually, why I'm not saying scholarship is, usually scholarships are, Brianna, I'm going to use you as an example again, right? Brianna is the most perfect student ever. She's had 125 since the first grade. She's super engaged. She does everything. And she also like solved global hunger. So she's like the best student ever, right? That would be a student for like a full ride scholarship, which is just like, Brianna is so smart that we're going to throw money at her. We do not do that based on academics. We do that based on family financial need. So when I was talking about that whole part of meeting demonstrated need, it's in essence saying, okay, we want these amazing students and like we understand that college is expensive. Flying to the US to go to college is really expensive, right? So we do not offer full ride scholarships in the traditional terminology, right, that you might hear. We do offer full financial meeting that need. So that need is how much can you contribute, right? So let's say your family can contribute $100 a year. Great. If you are accepted into Smith, we will pay the rest. Your family will pay that $100 and we will pay the rest. Let's say your family can contribute $20,000 a year. Great. You contribute that, we pay the rest. Let's say your family can contribute $0 US, like nothing. We pay the rest, right? And that being said, like that is truly, you do not have to pay. Like we give you that flight stipend, we help you get to campus. There are ways on campus where you can, if you need a winter coat, right? Because you're coming to Massachusetts and it's cold in the winter. We have like a clothing drive from past students who have donated perfectly good winter coats, right? So like there are resources on campus that really make that, yes, you can study here, you can be here, and it is okay if you have $300 million or $0. So does that clarify, whoever asked the scholarship question, does that clarify what you were asking?
Okay, I got a DM. It says yes. Thank you so much.
Good, okay.
All right.
Good, okay.
So I think like that was actually the last question on my end. So I think with that, with 5 minutes left, I think we can close the Q&A forum.
Okay.
And personally, that was so informative, honestly. That was such a fun Q&A session. Thank you for using me as an
Good.
example.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, with that being said, thank you so much again, Miss Cassidy, for your time. And if you would like to get to know more about Smith, I will send a interest form which everyone can fill out in case that they do want to learn more about Smith. So I will send right here. Okay.
Are you
So
sending,
please click on that link if you are interested in learning more about Smith. So
are you sending like a camp interest form or is it a Smith interest form?
oh, it's a camp interest form.
Perfect.
But then
Okay.
it's specifically for Smith.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Thank you so much. So
Yeah.
and with that, sorry. Okay, there.
No worries.
Okay, with that being said, thank you so much again, Miss Cassie, for your time. And thank you, Smith College, for that wonderful presentation. So I think that ends our second session, and we'll see you guys in actually 4 minutes for our last session. Thank you so much, Miss Cassidy.
Yes, thank you all. Have a nice 4-minute break. Please contact me if you need more information. Have a wonderful night, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Hi, Mr. Carl. Hello.
Hi, Brianna.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Very good to see you.
Very nice to see you too. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How's everything?
Okay. It's doing well. So if you'd like, you can share your screen if you want so that we can just test if everything's doing fine technically.
Great, great. So Johnson and my colleague Alex are both here. Johnson will be doing the presentation, but I will do an opening before his part.
Yes.
All right, great.
Very nice to see you. It's Brianna, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Thank you. So nice to meet you.
Hi, Alex.
Hi.
Hi. So I believe the Smith College part has just finished.
Yes, we just finished. So the session for CityU starts at 10. So we'll start at exactly
great.
10.
Sure.
Great.
No problem.
Johnson, you want to try the share screen and the function?
Yeah, I think I better try it now. We have a few more minutes to go. So I'll be starting off, Kyle will be giving an introduction of, a brief introduction of our university and us. And I'll begin afterwards, and straight afterwards, I'll be playing a short video, which lasts around 6 minutes. And then I would go straight into my presentation for the audiences. And then let's just try sharing my screen with you. It's a little foggy. I'm not sure why my camera looks a little bit. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it works, I think.
Okay. Okay. I think my screen is visible to all of you now, right? Is that right? Let me just try out this.
See it clearly.
Yeah. Hear the sound?
Place where
Yes, we can hear the sound.
Okay, great, wonderful.
All right, great. So we'll start at 10, at exactly 10.
Okay,
How is the conference going, Brianna? I thought it's the second last day, right?
Yes, this is the second to the last day. Actually, we're finding more participation. So, if you didn't know, this session is being recorded. We're actually finding more participation with the YouTube channel, with like people watching the recordings. But
Oh, nice.
yeah, overall, it's doing pretty well.
Oh, that's very good to know. Yeah, I was thinking if you would, after the pandemic resuming, to be the physical event that I have joined, I think 3 times before, but representing of us at another university. So, but it's good for students. It's even better for them to, stay at home or wherever they are, and they can look at the recording as well.
Yes. And actually 10, so I think that we can start. So
Sure.
again, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Camp 2023's annual Study Abroad Conference with the theme Pathfinding, Trekking to College. So I'm Brianna Billano, Camp's College Fair Manager, and your host for tonight's exciting college fair. So we've reached the last of our college lineup, and we hope that you guys will still enjoy. So however, before we start, here are just a few reminders to take note of while attending our college fair. So first, please turn your mic and camera off as the college representatives present. And while the presentation happens, do take note of any questions you may have, as we will have a respective Q&A portion after each college presentation is done. So our college fair sessions will be recorded, and if you would like to go back to listen to their presentations, please visit CAMP's YouTube channel to learn more about them. And if you are interested in any of the colleges presenting, we will release interest forms after the college fair, which you can fill out to learn more about the college. So now that's done, it's time to introduce our final university presenting tonight, CityU. So based in Hong Kong, Mr. Carl, Mr. Johnson, and Mr. Alex is here to represent the City University of Hong Kong and answer questions about the university's academics, student life, and more. So let's give them a virtual round of applause. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Brianna, and it's my great pleasure to join Camp State Abroad Fair this year in 2023 version. Let me introduce our team. I'm Carl from the Global Engagement Office of City University of Hong Kong, the senior manager, and we, of course, handle all the recruitment efforts for undergraduate students from outside Hong Kong, the non-local students. And here with me, we have Johnson and my team, also Alex. We are all, not only 3 of us, but we have a great team, great, great people to introduce study abroad in Hong Kong as a destination for you. And then, of course, I will let Johnson let you know more about Hong Kong and also what CityU should offer to you, and so that you can plan ahead on your study journey, including everything about Hong Kong admission requirements, the university settings, and everything. So I'll just pass it on to Johnson for his introduction.
Thank you, Carl. So once again, just to introduce myself, my name is Johnson, and I work for City University of Hong Kong for a couple of years. Actually, as a matter of fact, I have paid visit to Philippines last year. I think that was in November, sometime in November. I visited Manila and Cebu City to promote for City University of Hong Kong. So without further ado, this is how I'm going to do this. Okay, so I will first be showing you a video about our university to give you some basic concepts about what City University of Hong Kong is. The video will last for around 6 minutes, and then I'll head straight into the presentations. Okay, I'll keep the presentation as short as possible. I know that this is the final university presenting here today. Okay, I don't intend to run it too long. Okay, but after the presentation, you can feel free to ask questions. We'll go into a short Q&A section. Okay, so to begin with, to share my screen with you. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so my screen should be visible to all of you now. So this is the video.
A place where fresh ideas and creativity meet. A center of excellence for developing the talent needed in tomorrow's world. And a home for world-class faculty pursuing problem-driven research. This is City University of Hong Kong. Our commitment to innovation and creativity is making a real difference in people's lives. CityU has become a leading global university, scoring tremendous successes in professional education and research.
If we are to prepare our students for a sustainable lifelong career and future, CityU must become more learning-centric than teaching-centric, embracing not just traditional institutional learning by lectures and tutorials, but also inspirational learning, interactive learning, and innovative learning.
I chose the FED program in Hong Kong because it makes me reflect on the way we see and treat different animals. The program provides a comprehensive curriculum of international standard.
We hope our research project will contribute to the goal of carbon neutrality and help change the world for the better.
Our world-class facilities invigorate the campus and further enhance student learning and research excellence. We inspire young talents to convert their innovative ideas into real-life applications and ignite their entrepreneurship journey.
Technological innovation holds great promise for enhancing life. We are committed to advancing the frontiers of knowledge through our groundbreaking discoveries and top-level research.
Our state-of-the-art research addresses emerging One Health problems, recognising that the health of animals, humans, and the environment is intertwined.
My aspiration is to bring international competitive edge in education and research to Hong Kong so that we can cultivate the engineering talent of tomorrow.
Our faculty champion the integration of teaching and research. These top scholars, who are members of prestigious academies and fellows of internationally renowned societies, bring a wealth of knowledge, wisdom, and experience to CityU. CityU has risen in the university rankings to become a leading global university. CityU continues to scale new heights. Our inaugural university anthem encapsulates our aspirations, identity, and spirit of collegiality. At CityU, you can dream big. For so many students, this is where you develop entrepreneurship and professional leadership skills.
After taking an engineering doctorate program at CityU, I'm inspired to dedicate myself to the revitalizations of Hong Kong's industrial sector by serving as a bridge between industry and academia.
Many CityU alumni are taking leadership roles in a diversity of professions. My passion is uniting alumni to advance the university and serve the community.
Different cultures and languages come together on CityU's cosmopolitan campus. Whatever your dreams, we offer the ideal destination for enriching your life.
The CityU Student Exchange Program has given me a golden opportunity to explore the world and myself and assemble my fun-filled vision board.
CityU offers exposure to new cultures, fresh ideas, and alternative perspectives, and also encourages me to follow my passions.
CityU is already and will continue to be a globally connected university. we have the noble task of preparing Hong Kong's young people and others who will join us, ready and full of hope for their tomorrow.
CityU is a leading global university that continues to move, innovate, learn, teach and prosper. It's an ideal place for people to meet their aspirations and fly high.
Right, so that was the video just now. And now let's we'll be going into the presentation. All right, so this is presentation. And once again, it's a City University of Hong Kong. So the shorter name is called CityU. We are actually, if not the youngest, actually we are one of the youngest university in Hong Kong with just roughly 34 years of history. So a very young and energetic university, I would put it this way, our university is. So this QR code you see here on the first page, you know, if you have your smartphones with you, or if you're sitting, if you'll be watching the recordings later on, feel free to, you know, just visit our social media channels, okay? These days we have featured a lot of student stories, okay, shared by our international students on our Instagram channels and our Facebook channels, yeah? All right, without further ado, first of all, Hong Kong, before going into details about university. I think Hong Kong is not a is no strange place to the people of the Philippines, okay? Because of the proximity, you know that how close we are. We have basically got direct flights from Hong Kong to Philippines every day, not just connecting us with Manila, you know, the capital city, but also with Cebu City, also Angeles City, and other places. So we can basically reach in Hong Kong in just 3 to 4 hours time. It's a very close place, okay? So these are some of the pictures taken in Hong Kong, as you can notice, okay? Hong Kong is a very internationalized city with a lot of people from all parts of the world coming to study here and work here. And, these are just, the picture I'm showing you on the screen right now. These are some of the, some things that Hong Kong is being known of, okay? We are often featured in international movies, in the Marvel movies, in other, science fiction movies made by Hollywood. But at the same time, okay, if you know Hong Kong, you know a little bit about our history with making movies, you know that Hong Kong, we also make very good movies, such as especially the action movies, okay? These guys are no stranger to, people from the world, okay? Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, these are all the people from Hong Kong, okay? So for some reason, we are also quite well known for our martial arts as well, okay? But, just one indicator telling you how internationalized the city is, okay? And not to mention, okay, we have our own Disneyland, okay? In Asia, you might have known that there are only 3 Disneylands at the moment, okay? One is in Shanghai, in China, another major city in China. And the oldest one should be in Tokyo. And Hong Kong has also our own Disneyland, okay? So you know that Disney is a very, selective company, okay? They don't just set up Disneylands everywhere. Setting up Disneyland in Hong Kong tells you how internationalized the city is, in a way. Okay, if we're talking about Hong Kong, we cannot not mention, okay, the food variety in Hong Kong. Okay, Hong Kong is also well known for, serving a great variety of food to people living here. Okay, so in here in Hong Kong, you'll be able to find all kinds of cuisine and food here. Okay, and also including, authentic Filipino cuisine as well. There are a lot of Filipinos restaurants around the city too. Okay. Fun facts aside, okay, what is so special about Hong Kong? Why could you possibly consider Hong Kong as a place for further study and for your future career development? Okay, I would say that Hong Kong is wonderful in a way because first of all, remember this, okay, keep this in mind. The Filipinos actually takes up a huge population of people in Hong Kong. Okay, there are, I just checked Google for a moment ago. Okay, at the according to the latest statistics, Hong Kong right now, we have over 200,000 Filipinos working and studying here. Okay, that's a huge population of Filipinos here. Okay, so you'll be seeing Filipinos all around, when you walk around the city. Okay, also on our campus too. Okay, so why Hong Kong? Okay, first of all, Hong Kong is definitely, widely considered one of the busiest financial and commercial hub in Asia. Okay, we have one of the largest stock market in Asia. In terms of stock market size, I think we are number 4 right now. Okay, world largest, 4th largest stock market. A lot of commercial activities going on every day. A lot of business operations going on every day. Okay, we have a 3rd prosperous commercial sector here. But of course, Hong Kong is also well known for our, a lot of different studies. Say, for example, engineering. We are also very good at that. Okay, Hong Kong in Asia is like Germany, in Europe. We're also very well known for our technological development and especially engineering. Okay, so secondly, if you take a look at the middle picture here, okay, Hong Kong is actually a city that is next to the sea. Okay, much like Manila and Cebu. Okay, surround. We are actually a place that is made up of different islands. Okay, so more than half of the land in Hong Kong are actually country parks. There are a lot of places that you can explore. Obviously, if you come to Hong Kong to studies, you put in a lot of effort, keeping up with your studies and all that. But I'm just here to let you know that there are also a lot of places that you can go hang out during your leisure time. It's a wonderful place. And a lot of our international students, they appreciate, they didn't realize about the nature of Hong Kong until they come to Hong Kong. Okay, so this is actually one surprise for them. We also offer a very safe living environment for all of our international students, because if you join us as international students, you will be basically given at least 2 years of stay on the campus. And on the very right hand side, this picture here is actually our very well-maintained student residence campus. Okay, we have got different blocks of apartment buildings, which come in all kinds of, which offer all kinds of amenities and facilities. Okay, if you have paid attention to the video earlier, okay, you notice that actually CityU is one of the very high-ranked university, not just in Asia, but also in the world. Okay, our current QS rankings, world university rankings, okay, we are being compared to all the universities in the world. We are ranked 54th in the year 2023. That's this year. Okay, not to mention because we are one of the youngest university in Hong Kong and in the world as well, right? So we are ranked number 4 in the top 50 universities with the age under 50 years old. We're number 4 in that. Rankings aside, okay, more about Hong Kong. Okay, what is Hong Kong to offer to the students from Philippines? First of all, okay, Hong Kong is the place. What makes us so special? Because Hong Kong is the gateway between the East and West. Okay, connecting us with the mainland China. Okay, we have our own jurisdiction system here, and we have our own law system here. As some of you may know, Hong Kong used to be ruled by the British before the 1997, okay, year 1997. Some of you may not have been born yet, okay? So before that, we were ruled by the British, which is why we adopt a different law system here. The law here is called the common law, or the basic law system, which is largely based on the British law, okay, which is totally different from the mainland law system, okay? So we run our own businesses here, and we are very much, going into capitalism here. With more than 9,000 multinational companies in Hong Kong, okay, there are a lot of job opportunities, okay, coming from, international companies like Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, okay, and other Microsoft, they're all here, Samsung. But apart from that, of course, we have a lot of Eastern enterprises as well. There are Japanese companies here, Korean companies here, and Chinese enterprises here as well. Low unemployment rate is one of the features of Hong Kong. Okay, so basically up to 95% of the working population here, okay, they've got a job here. Okay, so it's not that difficult to get a job here. I would say it's very easy. Okay, and the visa arrangement is also very favorable. Okay, so to get a PR, permanent residency in Hong Kong, that would take you 7 years of stay. Okay, but remember this. Okay. How long would it take you to complete your undergraduate degree here in Hong Kong? That would take more or less 4 years, usually, in most cases, 4 years. The 4 years accounted within the 7 years. Okay, 7 years totally is the total duration you have to stay in Hong Kong to get a PR. But the 4 years while you're studying in Hong Kong are actually counted within the 7 years, which means you would just have to work in Hong Kong for 3 more years or stay in Hong Kong for 3 more years after you graduate. And then you would automatically be given this permanent residency from the Hong Kong government. Okay, we require no vetting, no interviews. We just look at the duration of your stay, which means 7 years is all it takes for you to get PR, and it's very straightforward. Okay, you see from the screen here, okay, we have a 12 months extension. What does that mean? Okay, these days it has been extended to 24 months, which means at the point when you graduate from City University Hong Kong, from CityU, you will be allowed to stay in Hong Kong for 24 months, okay, with or without a job. But of course, in most cases, our international students, because they are very competitive, okay, usually they would have already got a job offer before they graduate. Okay. Okay, so what is CityU good at, you may ask? Okay, so we are good at a lot of things. Okay, especially, I would say especially, okay, we have a long history of our engineering college. Okay, engineering is definitely one of our strengths. Business as well. Okay, University from Hong Kong, generally, they're very good at business, and CityU is among one of the best, business. We have one of the best business college in Hong Kong as well. We are also very good at all things, that is related to technology, especially computer science. Okay, computer science is one of the, most difficult program that you can get into at CityU, but it's also very rewarding. A lot of international students these days, they aim to study at CityU's CS program. Why CityU? Okay, first of all, the rankings I've already mentioned, world's 54th university. Okay, remember this, we have just taken 34 years, and we have risen to this 54th ranking. So that's actually really something. One thing I have to reassure students from Philippines, okay, Hong Kong is a place that we run a bilingual system here. Okay, so Chinese obviously is one of the official languages of Hong Kong, but on the other hand, because Hong Kong used to be ruled by British, right? So people here are also proficient in English, which is why we run a bilingual system here. Is English and Chinese. When you go out there on the streets, you see the road signs, or when you go into a restaurant, usually you will see two languages. It always comes in Chinese and English together. Okay, so in Hong Kong there is also English TV news channels, Chinese TV news channels. So as long as you're proficient in English, okay, which every Filipino does, okay, you have no trouble here, no issues here, studying, adapting into life here, or even getting a job here. Okay, CityU is one of the publicly funded universities. We are backed by the government. A lot of fundings come from the government, which is why we are very resourceful, okay, in giving away a lot of resources to our international students, scholarships included. Okay, I'll cover the part about scholarship by the end of the presentation. Okay. Snapshots of CityU. Okay, and you see some very strange looking buildings here. Okay, infrastructure is here. Okay, so because CityU is a very young university, we still have a lot of development going on. Okay, and just to mention to you here, okay, apart from our existing student residence, we will have a brand new student residence campus coming up next year. Okay, which will provide us with additional 2,000 places for our students. More about our university. Okay, so what are the programs that we offer at CityU? Okay, they comes from these 9 faculties. Okay, we call them colleges and schools. College is basically the larger faculty, and school is basically smaller faculty. Okay, so what are they? First of all, we have the College of Business, okay, and then the College of Engineering, followed by the College of Liberal Arts and Social Science, where you can find programs such as psychology, humanities program like linguistics, or even broadcasting, media and all that. You can find it under the College of Liberal Arts and Social Science. And then we have the College of Science, which has a stronger focus on pure science like physics, chemistry, computer mathematics, etc. We also have a very unique faculty here, which only offered by CityU. It's the College of Veterinary Medicine and Life Science. Okay, so you can actually study at CityU, taking up animal medicine program and become a vet. Okay, this is one unique program that only CityU offers in Hong Kong. Okay, exclusively by CityU, the vet program. Okay, it's a medicine program, but for animals, obviously. Okay, targeting animals. Okay, so for our students. Okay, and it will last 6 years. Okay, it's a 6-year medicine program, but animal medicine. Next, we have a School of Creative Media, which is for students who or for people who are interested in digital design. Okay. School of Data Science, we are the first university in Hong Kong to establish a data science school. Lastly, we have the School of Energy Environment and the School of Law. So I don't think I will go through every single round of program here, but there's a whole list of programs offered by CityU, up to 45 programs, close to around 45 programs these days at the undergraduate level. Okay. What I will do is I will put the links, I will put the URLs, okay, into the chat box later on, so you can visit this website and take a look at the full program list that we offer at CityU. Okay, but just to have a quick glimpse of what programs are being offered at CityU, you see we have a great variety of programs on the business college here: accountancy, global business, management, finance. Finance is very popular these days. Okay. We also have one of the top tier program here called Computational Finance and Financial Technology. This one here is the Bachelor of Science, okay, because it has a stronger focus on financial technology. College of Engineering, they also have a great variety of programs here, including what I mentioned earlier, the Computer Science program. Okay, a lot of these engineering programs, from different areas. Okay. And then the vet school is here, okay, offer you a 6-year Bachelor of Veterinary Medicine program, along with biological science, biomedical science, which Hong Kong is very strongly focusing on right these days, biotech. School of Creative Media, School of Data Science, Energy Environment, and School of Law. Okay, the law degree that we offer at Hong Kong is the LLB degree. Okay, which basically means it is more related to UK law. Okay, getting a law degree in Hong Kong, okay, which can allow you, of course, to practice in Hong Kong as a lawyer, but you can also consider practicing in other Commonwealth countries. Okay, countries that base the law system is based on British law. You can also actually possibly practice in those countries too. Liberal arts and social science, like I've mentioned, okay, a lot of humanities subjects here, along with psychology, criminology. Criminology is a special one, social work, etc. CityU is a very internationalized university in a way, in different ways, actually. First of all, we have a huge international students population at CityU. But apart from the students, of course, we have also tried our very best to ensure that the faculties, the teaching staff at CityU, they come from they're also very internationalized. More than 70% of our faculty members, they come from different nations, from over 30 countries or regions. Okay. And in a way, we also promote internationalization by offering our students, okay, no matter if it's a local Hong Kong student or Philippine students, okay, from Philippines, every student will be given at least one time of student exchange opportunity. Okay, so what does it mean by international opportunities here? We are referring to student exchange opportunities. We have more than 400 student exchange partners around the world, and many of them are famous universities around all across the globe. Okay. So we've got partners from the American continent, from Europe region, from Asia region, Southeast Asia region. So these are all the places you can get exchange to if you join CityU. And the best part is we offer you, if you take a look at the screen, the right bottom right-hand corner here, we provide financial assistance and exchange scholarships, which basically means we give you the money and we send you away to get this international exposure. What's more to mention, okay, apart from our student exchange program, that's one thing. This is what we refer as the joint bachelor degree program. This is different from the student exchange program. What is this? This is basically a full-time study program, which will last for 4 years. You remember the duration of study in Hong Kong is 4 years, okay? So joint bachelor degree program basically means we are partnering up with a famous university to offer full-time studies opportunities to our students who get selected into the program, okay? So the structure, it's a 2 + 2 year structure. What does that mean? That means you spend 2 years studying at CityU in Hong Kong, and then the other 2 years you'll be completing your studies in a foreign university. Okay, and then the best part about this program is you will get 2 degrees. Okay, instead of just 1 degree from CityU. Okay, so it's a 2 degrees in 4 year scale. It's very, very attractive and appealing to many of our international students. And that's not to mention we are working with Columbia University in this particular program here. Columbia University is widely considered one of the best Ivy League universities in the United States. They are one of the oldest, if not the oldest university in US. And they are all obviously very famous for their academic strength and research and all that. So how does it work? So basically, if you join CityU as a CityU student and you complete your first year at CityU, we will review your eligibility to get into these joint degree programs. Okay, you have to get high score at CityU, high GPA, and you have to go through a certain selection process in order to get admitted into this program here. But over the years, every year, basically, we have a lot of international students getting admitted into the joint degree programs. Okay, different joint degree programs. Okay, just to remind you, this is not the single joint degree program that we have. We have a lot of other joint degree programs too, okay? And different joint degree programs, they cover different areas of studies, okay? As you see there, eligible majors at the bottom of the screen, you see. So Columbia University, the joint degree program with Columbia and us cover this eligible majors, which is over, I think over 12 majors these days, okay? So if you become a CityU student, taking any one of these eligible majors, you might possibly consider applying to the joint degree programs after finishing your year 1 at CityU. So what are the other joint degree programs? Okay, they are from different countries, all our partners. Okay, let's say SS Business School in France, one of the best business schools in Paris. We are joining together with them to offer you the joint degree program for marketing students. If you're studying under business college, taking marketing, you can spend 2 years in Paris, 2 years in Hong Kong. Nuvana University of Nuremberg, one of the famous creative media university, specialized in design in Germany, 2 years in Germany, 2 years in Hong Kong. 2 of the finest universities in UK, University of Edinburgh in Scotland and University of Manchester in UK, in England. Okay, for computer mathematics students and chemistry students, respectively. 2 years in Hong Kong, 2 years in UK. Apart from that, okay, apart from the joint degree programs, we also have a lot of different activities that our students can join, okay? I'm not going to explain fully what this is, but just to let you know that HK Tech 300 is an entrepreneurship program, okay? It's a program for our students to start their own startup companies, okay? So basically, if you have your own business idea, you can actually pitch this idea to our university community, and you might have a chance to start your own company. And university, CityU will fund you for that, okay? We'll give you the money to start your own business. In Hong Kong, you never run out of international internship opportunities. There are way too many companies here. Okay, so City University of Hong Kong, we also have a dedicated office that supports our students in training them and helping them to look for internships and jobs. Okay, so apart from that, we also hold the career fairs once or twice a year. Okay, which you can get exposed to different companies. So you may ask, okay, where do our students go after they graduate, right? Okay, so this is statistics of recent information that we released to the public. Okay, so up to 70%, okay, up to 70% of our graduates from the undergraduate level, they get employed in Hong Kong, and quite easily, I would say. Okay, and many of them, they end up working for large corporations. These are just some of the examples here. Okay. So where do the rest of the students go? Okay, some of them, of course, a certain proportion of them, they further their studies and going into other prestigious universities around the world. As you see here, 17% of them, they enter other universities to pursue their PhDs or their master's degrees. And also certain proportion of the students, they might, have something else, start their own business, etc. We have a very vibrant campus here at CityU. As you see from the video, we have a very good proportion of students are coming from, internationally. So you will be seeing a lot of different faces here, okay? Yeah, and you will be able to make friends with people from all around the world to be studying at CityU. Some of the pictures taken by our international students, okay, hanging out together. These are some of the pictures taken by our international students, where they spend their weekends in, okay? A lot of places you can go hiking, go biking, etc. and etc. Okay, so this is just to give you a concept of what a student residence is like. Okay, student residence life here in Hong Kong and the CityU is quite fun. Okay, the student residence is very well equipped. Okay, and so this is the interior of our standard 2-person room, double room we call that. Okay, it's something like this, much like a hotel setup in a way, or hostel setup. Okay, but of course it's not as luxurious as a hotel. Yeah, but you get all the things that you need: AC, air conditioning. You got laundry services are there, and you have all this, gyms and exercise rooms and study rooms as well. And not to mention, of course, being a student at CityU is not just about studies. Okay, a lot of your focus go into the studies, of course. Okay, as a student, but of course, we also take care of your personal development. Okay, which is why we have a lot of hobby clubs and sports teams you can join here. We have, I think, close to 100 different hobby clubs and societies these days that you can consider joining. And there are lots of different types of sports that you can take part in Hong Kong. Now, of course, water sports is one of them because we are just next to the sea. Okay, so here comes to the more important information on fees, scholarships, and how you can apply to us, the application procedures. Okay, so if you're following, I would assume if most of you are taking the SHS, the higher diploma, secondary higher diploma of Philippines, you would have completed 12 years of studies before you apply to a university. If you're coming from an IB school background, or if you're from an international school, okay, depending on the year of studies, there are 2 rules that you can consider. Okay, if you complete 12 years schooling before you enter university, you will go into the first year in most cases. Okay, if you completed 13 years, there might be a chance for you to join CityU by joining through the Advanced Standing 1 entrance scheme. What does that mean? That basically means you can skip the first year and go into the second year directly. This is like a second year entry admissions, okay? But that depends on which curriculum you're from. If you're from IB, 13 years of schooling, you might have the chance to join directly into the second year. But of course, there are prerequisites. You have to do well in your grades, okay? Next will be the cost of study, okay? To give you some idea how much it will cost to study at CityU, okay? So the cost table here, it's broken up into different parts, okay? First of all, the tuition fee, okay? Tuition fee for 4 years will remain the same, okay? Which means if you join us next year paying this fee, the fee will not be upward or downward adjusted. You will pay the same fee for the subsequent years, okay? How much is the fee? It's around 18.5K US dollars. Okay. Cost of living is roughly around 4,600 US dollars these days. Okay. It depends on how you spend your money. Okay. Actually, many of our international students spend less than this. Okay. This is just a reference figure. And what about the accommodation? Okay, accommodation could be different in first 2 years and the final 2 years, depending on whether you are staying on campus or off campus. Okay, as you see here, if you recall, our student residence basically give you the first 2 years of stay. Okay, you have the highest priority to live on the campus for the first 2 years as an international student. So if you are living on campus, the cost will be around 2,100 US dollars. While if you're living off campus, there are various, various options out there for accommodation. There are youth hostels out there. There are apartments that you can rent in Hong Kong. So it comes in a range. Okay, it could possibly cost less than this if you're living off campus. So for your better understanding and easier understanding, you can basically just take a look at this. Okay, the total cost here, highlighted in yellow color. So total cost, if you combine all the costs together for one particular year, one academic year, it will be around 1.37 million pesos. Okay, I have done this, currency conversion for you. This should be the most up-to-date conversion rate. Okay, to support your studies, okay, you must be looking at scholarship opportunities here, right? So we are very resourceful in giving away scholarships. We don't have a fixed quota for how much scholarship we are to give away to international students. Okay, so it all depends on how well you perform from your, your overall performance from your secondary school. Okay, so there are 3 tiers of scholarship that we offer at CityU. The largest amount here is called the top scholarship. This basically means a full ride scholarship, which cover all your tuition fee, covering all your on-campus accommodation expenses and your daily expenses. So basically, if you're able to get the top scholarship, you don't have to pay for a single peso, okay, to study here in Hong Kong. So how much is this? This is around approximately 1.3 million pesos, okay, in terms of value, followed by the full tuition scholarship, which essentially covers all your tuition fee for a year. And then there's also half tuition scholarship, okay, which cover half of your tuition fee, okay? So how much money you can get from us, how much scholarship you can get from us, that depends on how well you do from your academics, okay? So we also look into, when it comes to admissions, your extracurriculars is also important, okay? But to get our scholarships, you have to make sure that you do well in your examinations, okay? So one best thing about our scholarships, 2 best things actually. One of which, first of all, is that you do not have to apply for these scholarships here when you apply to CityU. Because when you apply to us, we will ask you to upload your transcripts to us and your diploma to us if you have a diploma at that point when you apply to us. So by reviewing your academic performances, okay, we will automatically assign scholarships to you, depending on how well you perform from your studies, okay? So which means you don't have to separately apply for any of these academic scholarships here, okay? The second best thing is all these scholarships you see here on the screen here, they are renewable, okay? If you are familiar with the offerings from the Western universities, you know that many of the times they offer you scholarships, but it always, in many of cases, they always, comes in a single year or only one time, one off, okay? But for us, you can renew your scholarship basically every single year, okay? And that's the most of the cases for our international students. A lot of them, they are able to renew the scholarship for 8 subsequent years, okay? So how can you renew your scholarship? How much you, to what level or to what extent you have to perform? The requirement is 3.4 GPA, okay? The full score, the full grade point average score at CityU is 4.3. You would just have to score 3.4 in order to renew your scholarship for the next year. So I would say, overall speaking, it's not that challenging or difficult, okay? As long as you have put certain efforts into your studies. What's more, we have a special grant for students coming from Philippines. If you are holding a Filipino passport, okay, you will be given a special grant from CityU, which is called diversity grant. You see here on the left-hand side, okay? How much is this grant? How can you get it, okay? The criterion or the prerequisite is simple. As long as you're holding a Filipino passport and you apply to us using your Filipino passport, you will get this money automatically, and you will be able to renew this money every single year. This money also can stack a point, on top of some of the scholarships here. If you are getting a full tuition scholarship or the half tuition scholarship, you can get the diversity grant money together at the same time, okay? How much is this money? This is around 211,000 pesos every year. You can get this money, and this is like a cash prize. The diversity grant money will be put into your bank account once you come to Hong Kong and open your bank account, and the money is up to you to decide how you spend your money. Okay, so this is different from the scholarship. The scholarships basically remove you, from spending any money expenses. It offset your expenses, but the diversity grant is a cash prize, which can put into your bank account, and you can decide how to spend your own money with. Okay. Apart from that, we also have a sports scholarship here. But now I'm not going to go into details here. If you all consider yourself a very, very elite sports player, and if you are, taking part in any of these 18 types of sports here, you can possibly consider applying through our sports scholarship scheme as well. Okay, but the sports scholarship scheme, remember this, you have to apply separately. Okay, but diversity grant, it doesn't require you to apply separately. When you apply to us, when you upload your, identification documents, and we see that you're holding a Filipino passport, boom, you get this money automatically. It's very simple, very straightforward. We, of course, at CityU, such a resourceful university, we have plenty and plenty of other scholarship opportunities that we can offer to our international students, okay? But I'm not going to name all of them because there are too many of scholarship schemes here, okay? But these are the scholarships that you can apply to once you become a CityU student, okay? So what about application timeline, okay? So basically every year we adopt a similar timeline, okay? The application cycle will begins by late September every year. Okay, so if you are looking at applying to a university next year, okay, you're entering university next year, you can possibly apply to us by the end of this year. Okay, we're looking at late September this year. If you're a final year student at secondary school, okay, if you're taking grade 12 or grade 13. So early deadline is sometime in November this year. Okay, and the final regular deadline will be sometime next year in January. Okay, so make sure that the earlier that you apply, okay, the greater chances you have for admissions, and possibly for scholarships, okay? So the semester begins at every single university in Hong Kong is basically the same, okay? We begin the academic year by late August or early September. So these are the final few slides here, okay? So we have, I've got all these website links here, which I can share with you, but I would like to draw your attention to the admissions info e-brochure, okay? This link here, you see my cursor is moving here. I'll make sure that I paste this link into the chat box just in a moment, okay? Just make sure that, you can, of course, you can visit all these websites for information, but I would encourage you to begin with looking into the admissions info e-brochure because it is an all-in-one information brochure that you can look at. It contains basically all the information that you need, okay? You might also check our, entrance requirement, okay, for Filipino students and the frequently asked questions. And most importantly, I think the list of programs to see whether the studies, the field of studies you're looking into, whether it is offered at CityU. Okay, so finally, some final reminders here. Okay, to apply to us, you apply to us online. There's a link, you can do that. You see here, there's a step-by-step application guide, the first link. That basically is the online application link. Okay, you'll find all the instructions up there. Okay, so when you apply to CityU, you can apply 3 programs at most at once cost, okay? You have to pay for the application fees, and for the same fee, you can apply to 3 programs at most, okay? So do not waste your slots, okay? Apply for 3 programs, okay? They will be parallelly considered, the 3 programs that you apply to, which means, they will be parallelly reviewed and evaluated, okay? So at the end, if you are really good with your studies, okay, you may end up getting 3 offers from these programs respectively, okay? But of course, at the end of the day, you can only choose 1 program to stick with. So all applications will be considered for scholarships. You don't have to apply for any of the academic scholarships. Remember to apply on time and remember to apply early, okay? Earlier, which means your admission chances is greater, okay? So what do we need from you when you apply to us, okay? If you would like to apply to us early, before the release of your diploma results or your final results, okay? You can actually do that. Just apply to us by uploading your latest school transcripts. We can look into your transcripts and we can give you conditional offer, okay? And when your diploma results are finally released, okay, we can look at your diploma results and turn your conditional offer into a firm offer, okay, depending on how well you do from your studies, okay? So official transcripts will be needed from recent 2 years. Predicted grades, you can also do that, okay? If you're coming from an international school background, let's say if you're from IB or A-levels, okay? You can actually apply to us using predicted grades, okay? We can accept predicted grades. And based on the predicted results, we will give you conditional offer. Statement of purpose is basically the application essay, okay? You don't have to write over 1,000 words these days, okay? So a couple of paragraphs, keep it precise and concise. Tell us about yourself, tell us about your aspirations, career aspirations, study aspirations, something about that, okay? For proof of English proficiency, depending on which curriculum you're from. If you're from Philippines curriculum, you might have to fulfill certain English requirement here. You can done that by completing IELTS examination or TOEFL examination, okay? If you're coming from an international school background, IB, A-levels, you don't have to worry about that, okay? Basically, the English subjects from A-levels or from IB can fulfill that requirement. You just have to make sure that you get a decent grade. So the application fee, it's around $60 US, $58 US. And finally, if you have questions for us afterwards, okay, you can always reach out to us by our email. Okay, you can also look into our Instagram there. You can leave a message if you'd like to do that. Okay, so the email is overseas@cityU.edu.hk. Okay, here you go. So let's just go back to the slide where I have all these links. Okay, I will copy the links into the chat box. Okay, so you can copy them to your computer afterwards. Okay. So here you go. The links are here. I am copying them to the chat box now, okay, for everyone. Okay. Are you able to see the links there? Okay. So, I think Carl or Alex, you'll be able to see it in the chat box, right? Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so this is the end of my presentation here. Okay. So from here onwards, let's see if you have if the floor has any questions for us. Thank you.
All right. So, all right, there, sorry. All right, so thank you so much for that wonderful and very informative presentation. Now our Q&A forum is open, and if you have any questions, please feel free to send them in the chat box addressed to everyone. Or if you're shy though, you can definitely send your questions directly to me. So I think we can give a minute for any questions that they may have. And well, actually I got a question. So one question is the statement of purpose similar to an essay that just basically introduces ourselves? Because honestly, I think the statement of purpose is a pretty new concept, especially here for Filipino applicants.
Right. So the statement of purpose, essentially, it means the application essay, okay? If, let's say, if you're applying to Western University, especially to the United States, students have to put in a lot of preparation into writing their application essay. The difference with our statement of purpose, which is in a sense also the application essay, is that we don't need you to write that much, okay? You still, by the end of the day, but at the end of the day, you still have to tell us who you are, why you're choosing Hong Kong, why you're choosing CityU, why you are applying to the programs that you are applying to, why you're interested in them. And to increase your chances, okay, you might also tell us about your career aspiration, you know, which leads you into studying the, you know, picking programs that you're picking. So these are some of the, I would consider these are some of the essential elements you have to consider when you write your statement of purpose, which is basically the application essay, okay? But just one thing, you don't have really, you know, you don't have to write pages and pages for that, okay? Just keep it simple as possible, keep it precise and concise, okay? So there's not a fixed word limit for that, okay? But bear in mind, you don't have to write, you know, 1,000 and something words, you know, nothing like that, okay? Just keep it precise and concise. That's my advice for any of the students who would like to apply to us, okay? So of course, you type your essay, you don't have to rewrite for that, okay? This is all done online, okay? It's just one of the steps, one of the process of applying to us, okay? Thank you, Brianna, for your question.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, so there's another question. So the link that you provided, that's the only platform for an application for CityU, or is there any other application platforms to apply for CityU?
Oh, that's the only application method or the platform, because, you know, here in Hong Kong, we work quite differently from, let's say, compared to the US, from the States. They have a thing called Common App, okay? Common App is a very complicated system which can allow, can allow certain applicants to apply to multiple universities by applying through that platform, okay? Some of the universities from the West, they also have their own platforms. But here in Hong Kong, basically all different universities, we have own platform, okay? So if you wish to apply to us to CityU, you have to, that link is the link that you have to use, okay? So that is the unique link from CityU, okay? Thank you for your question.
Okay, thank you. So actually, I got another question asking about what can be counted as a proof of English proficiency. Is this really only limited to the test that we have to take, or can this also be a certificate of English as a medium of instruction?
Yes. So I'm on this page here. You see, I've actually, prepared this website here. Okay. So this shows you some information. This is basically the page where I've shared a link with you for the entrance requirement. You can see the same thing when you click into the link. This covers, students coming from different curriculums. So what they have to fulfill, what is the minimum entrance requirement for them to fulfill? Let's say if you're from IB background, as I've mentioned, okay, if you have reached the 30 points here, okay, you can apply to us. And for GCE system, for the A-level system is here, okay. And there's also different information for students coming from different curriculum. Let's say for Philippines, okay, let's go to P here, P, here you go. So you see basic criteria is you have to complete your high school diploma grade 12, okay? But when it comes to the English language requirement, okay, you can actually scroll down on the same page and you can find all this information here. You can actually achieve or complete this or fulfill this English requirement by multiple ways, okay? You can just pick one of these ways here. Let's say if you're taking SAT English is accepted, IELTS English examination test is also accepted, 615 is all you have to get. TOEFL examination is also accepted. So there are different ways that you can fulfill the English requirement here. Okay, so please go ahead and take a look at this page afterwards. Let me do this. I'll copy this link into the box once again. Okay, so here you go. The link in the chat box is the page you should look at for English language requirement. Okay. So what the language requirement is, is basically really related to which curriculum you're from, okay? So that's my answer to the question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There's another question. So, will I be at a disadvantage if I do not have any advanced placement or IB subjects or curriculum?
Not necessarily, okay? Because every year we have got students from Philippines, of different curriculums and backgrounds joining us. Some of them, they are from SHS, from the high school diploma system. And many of them, of course, in Philippines, there are also a number of international schools, offering IB and A-levels. So I would say they're quite equally, proportioned in a way. So you do not get any disadvantages if you're coming from the local curriculum system. Doesn't work that way, okay? At the end of the day, what we look at is, ultimately is how will you perform, what is your all-around performance, okay, in different subjects and all that. Bear in mind one thing though, okay, one thing I have to mention to you, depending on the programs that you are applying to, there might be different subject requirements. Let's say, for example, if you're applying to our business college, remember this, if you're applying to business college, you must have taken mathematics from your secondary studies, from your high school studies, okay? If you have not taken mathematics, let's say if you're taking only business studies or accountancy or something like that, you are not valid, you're not considered eligible to apply to our business school, because our business school requirement requires every single one of our applicants to have taken mathematics, okay? This is one prerequisite, okay, for business school, okay? Let's say, by common sense, actually, you can get this, subject requirements as well. Let's say, for example, if you're applying to our physics program, then ordinarily, you would have thought that you must have taken physics, right? And mathematics are also required. So these are the subject prerequisites, okay? But you will get this information along the way when you explore our programs. Thank you for your question.
Thank you so much for that answer. Okay, so this is a question related, I think, to the cost of attendance. So you showed that during year 1 and year 2, the living situations is on campus, and for year 3 and year 4, they're off campus, as far as I remember. Yes. So does this mean that when we are in year 3 and 4, will we have to live off campus, or can we still opt to live on campus?
This is a very relevant question. Thank you for raising this question. Okay, so the thing is, there's also chance for our international students to live on the campus even in their year 3 or year 4. It depends, okay? What does it depending on, okay? It depends on your contribution to the university and how much spaces we can offer to international students. If you recall from the very beginning of the presentation, we will have a brand new residential campus somewhere in Hong Kong set up next year, okay? Which will provide an additional 2,000 places for our students, which means we will have a more abundant supply by the time next year when you join us, okay? Which means your chances of staying on campus after the first 2 years will be also increased. On the other hand, I mentioned about your contribution to the CityU, okay? So how do we evaluate your contribution, okay? It's about, whether you can showcase your student leadership capabilities, okay? If you are becoming student leader at CityU and you organize activities, recreational activities for other students, okay? Internationalization activities for other students. If you actively take part in these activities, that will contribute to your points, okay? We call them sometimes, it's like a residence points, okay? If you can accumulate these points, that will give you the chance to live on campus even in the 3rd year or 4th year. But by default, okay, ordinarily speaking, if you're not going into those activities at all, okay, what we can offer you is basically the first 2 years of stay on the campus. That's a very good question from the audience. Thank you for raising this question.
All right, thank you so much. So this is actually the last one on my end, but someone is asking, Hello, if I may ask, when evaluating applicants, do you prioritize well-rounded students or those with a strong focus in a specific area that is in line with the course they're applying to?
I would say the more all-rounded you are, the better. But of course, when you look at our scholarships, because I mentioned the scholarships are academic scholarships, so they have a stronger focus on your academic performance at the end of the day. Okay, so make sure that you do well in your examinations. But when it comes to admissions to the programs, okay, of course, we look at how all-rounded a candidate is. Okay, if you are strong in, let's say, your academics, but at the same time, you're also actively participating in competitions, contests, and so on, okay, that will also largely increase your chance for admissions. So I would say overall, we're looking for all-rounded candidates. Okay, so make sure that when you apply to us, you upload all the certificates that you have, okay, all your achievements. These are some of the things that we'll also look at. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And that was the last question actually on my end.
Mhm.
And with that being said, thank you so much again, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Carl, and Mr. Alex for your time. And if you would like to get to know more about CityU, you can fill out this interest form, which I will send in the chat box right now. And you can also chat them in the emails that they've also sent in the
Yes,
chat. So
just a moment ago. Yeah.
yeah, so if you can fill out this form, this is an interest form. So if ever you are interested in applying to CityU, do fill out the form, or you can also reach out to them personally. So again, thank you so much again for your time. And I honestly had such a wonderful and informative session. So yeah, thank you again. And that is our college fair actually for the day. So I truly enjoyed listening again to all the colleges talk about the exciting
very much.
opportunities that await you if you do choose to attend their university. And again, thank you all so much for attending our college fair. So stay tuned for our last day tomorrow. And it's filled with lots of informative and essential talks that will definitely help you in your study abroad journey. So bye-bye. Thank you so much again. I really
Thank
appreciate
you for
it.
having us. Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye-bye. Have a
much.
very
Thank
nice
you.
evening.
Thanks a lot.
Nice weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.